Hello, friends, and welcome to the Unexpected Podcast. I'm Ez.
And I'm Lane.
And we're talking Tolkien.
We're coming to you from the Shire of America, the beautiful state of Ohio, in a little village called Amanda.
And today, we're doing things a little different.
We're under siege.
And therefore, we are short on resources, and we have one microphone between the two of us.
Will we have enough food? Is there enough meat? Will the meat run out?
As long as there's mead.
There's mead and meat in the streets. We're feeling pretty good. We have some special guests with us right now. One of them is going to be here all episode. The other one is only here for about 10-15 minutes because he's a wild man. The first one.
Well, I was just say he has to go man the gate.
The man with the golden voice. The man with the contingency plan. David Vogel. He is here. He's joining us for the Siege of Gondor. David, I just have a couple things to say. First of all, before you even speak, all right? So don't even worry about it. I'm going to speak for you for just a second. Incredible friend, awesome podcaster. Go check out the Contingency Plan. It's his Star Wars podcast. He runs with his brother. But here's the deal, man. I need more of you in my life. I need more of the golden voice. So we've kind of hinted at this all evening. I've been talking about how we can get more Dave in our life. Ez had an idea. Then Ez added on to that. And I'm just going to seal the deal for you right now. Okay? Sir Lancelot is ready for you to call all the knights and ladies to the square table, okay, of nerddom. You are King David. We will answer your call, and we'll show up to talk about whatever nerdy, geeky, beautiful things that you want to summon us to. So will you make the call, and we will answer, but will the call be made?
That's the question, right? Will the call be made? We have Sir Lancelot already of the Green...
Lancelot.
That's what I said. Lames-a-lot. Well, I need a... I mean, can I still just go as Sir Ezra? I mean, is that cool? Like...
Yeah, I think that's probably what you're going to go with. It's knightly enough.
Yeah, okay. Ironically, there are knights in this chapter we're reading today. But anyways, King David. Are you is this Prank City where you put the microphone, move it away right as I'm talking? Hey, I appreciate it.
King David, go ahead and let's just hear the golden voice, man.
Oh, I'm allowed to talk now.
Yeah, no, I had to flex a little muscle for just. I don't have very much.
Now I can talk. Yeah, I can go get something to drink, or
Why? I don't know why you're taking orders from Sir Lames-a-lot.
Well, it's because if the project idea actually gets up and moving, I'll be ordering you guys around.
That's what we want, actually.
I do well when I'm ordered around. I do best when I'm ordered around. It's kind of my forte.
Do you?
It's a good question. I don't really know.
You're kind of a bit of a rogue.
Now you're making me think about it again. Maybe not so much. What's going on?
I was going to say we should probably go ask Goldberry whether how good you are being ordered around.
Absolutely. She'll tell you I'm fantastic. So we also have with us one, can I say your name on the podcast?
Yes.
One Sir Kevin McKeegan, who I think would make an excellent knight of the square table. I'm just saying, he knows a lot of stuff, very intelligent and into all the geekdoms and nerddoms that there are. And he is the mastermind behind the studio. When we said, hey, we'd like to make this happen, Kev, who is an old friend of mine, got a hold of me and said, do you know what you're doing? And I said, bro, I know a horizontal stud when I see one. Okay? I know how to shop at Lowe's. I know what kind of screw guns I need. But, hey, if you want to come with the big boys and play, no. Kev was the one who he did the entire studio plan. I've literally just been like a glorified Lowe's.com. He tells me what to get. I go and I order it, and we're getting ready for the build. Breaking concrete tomorrow, right?
Framing starts tomorrow.
Which is epic.
Big day.
It's the biggest of all days.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Are you going to get framed?
Who's getting framed? And don't worry, it's just our gambling pieces, our chips. So what will Lane's role be in tomorrow's events? That's what I want to know. Like, what job do we have? Is he the water boy?
Please don't say errand boy.
No, everybody will definitely have a part to play because when you're framing, you're putting walls together one by one. Everybody has to stand the walls up.
Right. So, he'll be holding a lot of wood.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So we'll make that clear.
Okay, so we've got Dave and Kev. Kev was he was over here to make sure that I got everything that we need for tomorrow. He's like, Lane, I'm only an hour away. Can I drive to you and make sure that we have everything for tomorrow? But Dave, we've been planning for him to be here for a long time. We asked him what chapter he wanted to come and sit on, and he said, dude, any of them, whatever. So when I told you Siege of Gondor, what was your reaction? I mean, is this a chapter that you love? We're going to get into it more later, but we've been guilty of not talking Lord of the Rings soon enough in this podcast. So I'm just going to try and bring it up a little bit. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So, from last episode, if you didn't realize, we had the longest quick council of all time. So we decided to skip it. So it's over, and back to King David.
Oh, I can talk now.
Now you can. Yes.
There's a lot
please,
of a lot of questions and
My
a
liege.
lot of talking after the questions.
I know. I see. I always
mean,
feel
I
like
could
gotta
jump in.
clarify. You jump in whenever. You're the king of the square table.
So anyway, as to Lane's question, really excited about the chapter. It was either this or the Battle of Pelennor Fields. One of the two in Return of the King would be really epic. I mean, it's a long chapter. I think it was like an hour and a half just in the audiobook read through, which is what I prepared for beforehand. But yeah, very cool chapter. Looking forward to talking about it.
Who is your favorite character in this epic saga?
Boromir. But I'll tell you though, some of this goes into a little.
You don't
bit
have to walk it back. It's okay.
No. There is some bias there because I really like the actor who plays him.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bean's awesome.
I can watch Sean Bean in about anything, but
Clean Skin. You ever seen Clean Skin?
no.
It's a good movie. I'm not making it up. It's
you
a really
making
good movie.
things up?
No, I swear. Go look up Clean Skin. He's awesome. It doesn't sound good, but
Well, I mean, like Equilibrium, Patriot Games,
and Clean Skin. I'm not.
and
yeah.
Clean Skin apparently. I'll look it up, Lane. Sure.
Yeah. How many awards did he win for that? Like, was there any dialogue in that? Or
He won a Laney. All right, I gave him a Laney award.
Little known facts with Lane on the Unexpected Podcast.
yeah. Wow. Right.
Lane facts.
So okay. Yeah. No. Go ahead. So,
But no, Boromir was just one of those characters that, he's got that sort of kingly blood down the line. Regal guy can really transition into a lot of different roles, but he's always there as sort of like could be a really core character. But you also had the story of his fall and his redemption, which was very well captured in the book and really well captured in the films as well.
Yeah.
And I was a film watcher first. I watched the films before I actually read the books. I kind of told my story during the last party where I started with The Hobbit when I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it captured me in the films, his entire rise and fall and then semi-rise again before his death.
Which really kind of mimics Gondor as a region, kingdom, country as well.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of talk about, the Gondorian bloodline and how far that goes back. But again, it always comes back to they're not quite like they used to be, sort of deal.
There's a lot of that in this chapter.
And yeah, it's talked about quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I had to pick a character aside from Boromir, it's probably going to be Aragorn. And like in the Discord, which I'll go in there and listen to your pre-taping stuff. I just switched my name to a Ranger from the North.
I like that.
So, or something like that. So like, everybody tries to equate their life to a character. Butterbur and Gandalf and I don't know. Have you talked about yours?
He's next. He's next.
I'm intrigued now.
But I never viewed myself as a main character. But I would love to be one of those just rangers up in the north protecting the Shire, just out in the wilderness,
one of the bounders.
doing a thing.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. I love it, David. I love it. It's beautiful. Okay, so Kevin, we have limited time with you. We want you to. You also have. If Dave's voice is golden, and this is going to sound This is going to sound like a slam, and it's absolutely not. Yours is lace. You have a lacy voice. Go ahead and I want you to tell us about, if you could sit in on this chapter, what would be your biggest takeaway from the Siege of Gondor? So I'm going to test your knowledge here, your memory. And then also I want your favorite character from the Lord of the Rings. It could be anyone in Middle-earth, because I know you've delved deep into the mythology. Your favorite character.
It's either Treebeard or Tom Bombadil.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Or Sam. It's hard
to... Put the mics down and just shut it off now.
It's hard to pick.
Those are the three richest characters.
The why is important. I want to know why. I like to, why do we connect to him?
Because that's who Kev is.
I liked Tom Bombadil, the whole... He was... Like in everyday society, you have all of the people that are around, and then you have kind of the outliers, and Tom Bombadil was kind of the outlier, and then Treebeard he was like the Sasquatch of the books
in lame terms.
Terms. And I mean, I think everybody's terms, even the characters in the book, he was kind of one of those characters where they thought it might be real, but nobody knew if it was real. And they'd heard the stories. So his was, and the median of all of the Ents coming together and all that. And then, wait, where are we at in the? Okay, yeah, and then how they went in the Ent siege and everything else. That was probably my favorite part of all the books. And then
you're a nature lover too, so that makes total sense.
Yeah. And then Sam, his is probably the one that I relate the most to. Mm-hmm. So the most boring out of the three, the why, but But Sam's the one that steadfast, he's the one that carries the whole thing rests on him basically, and
kind of like the studio building you.
I wasn't gonna go there.
I think you probably should.
You're putting a lot of pressure on me.
I've now seen him pick out materials or attempt to pick out materials. So
it's a good time. It gets funny.
I do want to say that you called TapCons tampons.
That is true.
I did catch you on that one.
I caught myself on that, and then you were like, "Yeah, simultaneous."
That's true. I was nodding yes. I was like,
You're
"Sure,
like, yeah, okay.
We got the tampons. We're ready to go."
I really hope this guy knows what he's doing.
It's for nosebleeds,
right?
Rugby guys, we know that. Wow. Okay, so I just kind of realized too, we have a couple Rangers from the north right here. I mean, guys who are out in nature, guys who love to hike, guys who have gone on adventures, guys who, honestly, they're great speakers, but they're even better listeners too. So I feel very fortunate to have them both with us here right now. I'm going to hand you the mic here in a second, but I also just kind of like to see you sort of squirm in your seat. So yeah, now's a good time.
Okay, cool. I now feel like King David. Like, I can speak? Okay, cool. It's like this, passing of the golden microphone here. So, okay, what I thought was interesting, you were having a really good conversation earlier with Kev, and we were over here playing musical instruments, and it was a fantastic time, okay? So let's bring those two things together. I'm not really sure how the musical instruments are going to fit into it, but because what were you guys talking about, though? Because what I thought we would do is we'd have a quick little conversation about that, and then we could maybe get their opinions on the show news. Yes. Right? Does that sound good?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what were you guys talking about? Because I didn't really know. It sounded like it was Hobbity, and it was kind of Peter Jackson related.
I was asking Kev his favorite brand of socks, and he said Hanes all the way, Hanes for days.
Smart Wool.
Say it again.
Smart Wool.
Smart Wool. That's where it's at.
Come on, bro, get on.
Smart Wool? Are those the compression socks?
No, it's like wool that never smells.
Smart Wool. I think it said Smart Wall, and I was like, "Is that Walmart?"
The old
brand?
Smart Wall.
Yeah, I have a pair for tomorrow.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm dead serious. I got a pair for tomorrow.
Are you wearing them tomorrow?
I wear them when I hike.
Yeah, that's all we wore on like the
are these
operation.
undies, or are these socks, or are these what's going on?
Well, if you want to get
I couldn't tell you exactly. Do you know the exact makeup?
No, not really. I mean, the deal is like, so for backpacking, you want to cut down on the weight. Like this year, I bought a whole bunch of gear to cut down my weight because I was carrying too much. My knees just can't really do it much anymore with that amount of weight. So
you're throwing the pots off.
Well, yeah, lighter tent, lighter quilt, in any way. But the other thing is you don't want to pack in a whole bunch of clothes either.
Yeah.
So the thing with like, you know, I the brand I wear is like Darn Tough or whatever. So those can go for days of hiking, and you know your feet are going to sweat in those shoes and everything.
Wool dries pretty easily, doesn't it?
Right. Well, kind of. I mean, if you get them wet, you're really going to have to wring them out. But the whole thing is they won't stink because, I mean, like if you're a couple days out and you're in a tent, you're going to stink a little bit. But if everything's just stinking, you're going to put on like stinky socks again. There's a psychological thing to that too. So they're
I should get those for Sarah, actually, because her feet are the stinkiest around. She knows it.
I cannot believe you said that.
She knows it.
Okay, Mom, I'm mark it down. 20 minutes in, Sarah, I'll cut that out.
Poor Winnie has inherited those Hobbit feet, and they are, I don't know, maybe it's the river daughter. It's just they're in the muck or something, you know, all the time. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
No,
but yeah, they're solid. They're a solid product. Just if you're getting out a lot or if you sweat a lot.
That's crazy. So you're going to be wearing them tomorrow too?
No, not tomorrow.
Okay. But you do advocate these socks.
Oh, for hiking
on the trail? Were you on the
there's literally
Appalachian Trail? Did you
else.
wear them? Yes.
I bought them for my wife because she had never done, like in the army, she'd done ruck marching, but she'd never done like multiple days where all you're doing is, you know, and you just can't carry enough of everything. So
right. Makes a lot of sense. Huh. So was there a sponsorship in here somewhere that we were supposed to be?
Yeah, I think it was Darn Tough. That's darntough.com. Smart wall wool socks.
Enter promo code up for 20%.
That's right. That's right.
That's fictional, but I mean,
Sheer Up is the promo code there. So if you guys want to, we can talk a little show news. We'll talk just a little bit of Tolkien film news still to talk about. I've got a poll buried somewhere. We may get to that or not. But some really exciting stuff with the show has come out. So we talked last time. It's pretty well decided now that majority or quote unquote huge, according to New Zealand papers and news sources, of the show will be filmed in New Zealand. Auckland is apparently up and running with studio space. We know that James Cameron with the Avatar quintilogy or whatever, all the 5-6 movies, Fern Gully 8, he's kind of monopolizing the use of the Wellington studios. So they've built and been able to accommodate them or the Lord of the Rings show through studio space in Auckland and in Christchurch. So going to be taking place. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Going to be taking place in New Zealand. Majority of it, probably, who knows, maybe all of it. Since then, we've gotten an announcement, and I think it was the day after we recorded last time. So literally like 16 days ago, we have our first director. So this guy's name is J.A. Bayona. He is helming the new Jurassic World film, Fallen Kingdom. He's done some stuff that people have really good, have had really good reactions to. Penny Dreadful, I think, is a show that he's directed on and people really liked. And he, on his announcement tweet said, I don't have it in front of me, but something to the effect of, really excited to get into this new adventure and dive into the second age of Middle-earth. So, I think he's slated for a couple of episodes, maybe the first 2. So what are your guys' anticipations for the show? Are you excited that we're going to be going into the second age? What do you want out of this show from Prime? Okay, let me start with another question, because I have another question. I know I'm going to forget it. There are... All right. I was talking to Sarah. We were watching Stranger Things, and we've been watching Peaky Blinders. We just finished Peaky Blinders, and we binge watched Stranger Things. So we were talking about binging versus like episodic, like stretched out over, weekly releases, kind of a deal. And it hit me. I was like, one is an experience, and the other is an event. Okay, so binging is an event. Happens relatively quickly. You could do it in a day. You could watch Stranger Things season 3 in a day, right? And more episodic weekly is more of an experience. You have weeks on end to talk about it, to think about what's going to happen next, to guess. Even if you know what's going to happen, like people are going to know what's going to happen in the Second Age show, relatively, right? There's still discussion on how they execute it, what it's going to look like, how they'll unroll a storyline, right? So, if given the option, would you have episodic or a dump?
All right, so which one of those questions do you want to start with here?
Any or all?
Second Age, cool. Director, thumbs up.
Yep.
I guess. I don't really know.
I don't know him either. He seems excited, so let's go with cool.
Back to New Zealand, that feels right.
Yeah.
Scotland sounded cool, but New Zealand just sort of feels right because that's where.
Anti-Scot, as
Well, I'm
what do you have
not.
to say about that?
Not an anti-Scot.
You lifting
but
your kilt?
I'm.
He's King David. Go ahead.
I mean, my family's mainly Irish and German, so you know, I mean, I'm not Scottish.
Whoa, fighting words, bro. Let's go to the Highlands, mate.
We can both drink whiskey later. It'll be great. But then as far as your episodic versus dump question, we had kind of talked about this a little bit with The Mandalorian. If they were going, I don't know, did they ever say that was going to be episodic?
I don't think it's going to be a dump. I think it's going to
be... Which I kind of hope for.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess I also might be misusing the episodic term. I mean, like, you know, week by week.
Yeah,
stretched over 2 months.
I'm using it wrong.
No, I
week
threw
to
it
week.
out there. I just don't know any other word for it.
But I would prefer to have them week to week because, like, okay, so I don't watch a ton of TV. I don't really watch a ton of new movies either just because I don't really have time and I don't really think about it. But when I did that, when I was like a kid on Sunday nights watching like X-Files or something, there was a cool experience of like sitting down with family and watching a show every week. And that was just the way TV was for the longest time. Now, did I binge Stranger Things? Yeah. I went straight through, and sometimes that's great. But there's also something to be said about watching an episode, digesting it, thinking about it, going through specifics, rewatching it again, potentially with a streaming service in that same week, gearing up for the next episode. So that's personally what I would prefer, sort of that old way of providing media. But the dump is probably the dump is probably, I can make myself laugh, is probably more to what most younger people now are looking forward to, but I'd be happy if it were week to week.
Yep. Okay. I like hearing that.
As far as the show goes, I'm super interested in to see who they're going to center it around. Like if they're going to still maintain that, like, you know, Frodo and Bilbo in the first, and if they're going to pick somebody to be kind of the lead throughout it all. But as far as, I don't know. I guess it depends on the show, really. There's some shows where, like Game of Thrones, where you can binge watch it all day, but it's so fun when it's coming out week to week, and everybody at the office or wherever you work, or everybody's talking about it.
Yep.
I don't know. Both ways. I'm good with it either way. It doesn't really matter to me, but. That'd be awesome to see. I think there's less interaction with like the community if it comes out in a dump than if it comes out week to week.
And it seems more like a spurt too. Like we'll talk about Stranger Things for maybe another couple weeks, and then we'll just start thinking about the next season.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And not even really. I don't even know when that's going to be yet. Do we know yet? I don't know. I like the continuous conversation because I think Dave, you nailed it on the head, or nailed it on the head. See, building talk.
What's your job tomorrow, boy?
But like it is kind of like it almost feels like nostalgic, right? Like I remember watching X-Files every week, and it was an event on what was it, like Fox. Friday?
Yeah, it was Sunday night.
You'd watch X-Files. On Tuesday nights, we talked about This Is Us today. On Tuesday nights, we watch This Is Us. And for, 4 months, you're watching a TV show. It's something Sarah and I talk about. It's something that,
just real quick, I thought of this. The only show that I remember I didn't watch TV really growing up. You guys know I didn't. I mean, Michael Jackson, I didn't know he was. So
Johnny
Cash, the real thing.
Led Zeppelin, who the president was.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers. We were going over that today. I didn't know. The first time you showed me Mr. Rogers, I was like, who's that guy? This is great. This is great. Like, guys, it's been on since like. Is this guy new or something? No, this guy actually. That is who I am. I'm sorry.
This is some quality programming.
Some people probably think I was raised Amish, and it's pretty darn close. But there's a show. The shout out here again to this show. Anyone who's listening, the only show, and I got so mad when it was like episode 6 that I couldn't get. I like cried in the car. Couldn't get back home. I knew I was gonna miss it. We didn't have a way to record stuff. You know, like we didn't really. I didn't know where to go find it because I was a youngster. I was probably I was probably like 8, 9 years old. It was Spellbinders. It's an Australian show. It's Spellbinders. It's an amazing show, and it's all on YouTube. So again, that is Spellbinders. Please look it up and interact with me on that. Sorry, back to you guys.
You remember? I remember.
I had one of those in elementary school, made by Mead. Spellbinders with the Trapper Keeper thing.
What are you guys talking about, man? What are you guys talking about?
Ez is going to binge watch Mr. Rogers.
Yes, he is. All 45 seasons. Okay. I like both your guys. I love hearing people's because we don't obviously know what the show's going to be. I love hearing people's impressions, what they think, what they want. I would be interested to see too if we are going to follow, because you're right. Most of the trilogy are, if we have to narrow it down to 2 people, it's Sam and Frodo we're following. We have these other characters that we love who are integral into the plot, but it's all down to them, right? It's all up to them. So who is it going to be? Who will be, if we had to cut it down to its bare essentials, who will be the person? We've heard Sauron thrown out as like the creation of the rings. We've also heard that we're going to see Numenor. So would we follow some ancient king, or is it going to be like a Game of Thrones where you jump around from kingdom to kingdom and character to character?
Yeah, or would it be something where season 1 we follow one character, and then maybe season 2 we follow somebody else or something? It just kind of depends. You know, when I think about, we were just listening to the Silmarillion in the car today. Don't know where we were at in that, but it's like, chapter by chapter, it kind of jumps. It can jump ahead, and you're like, whoa, we're telling a whole new story here. This is crazy. So it could be something like that. But yeah, any thoughts on I guess that, like, we need to kind of follow at least one character through a season. I don't know that we want it to be Game of Thrones, like where there is no lead character, because there really, when you look at Game of Thrones, I mean, there's Jon Snow, Daenerys, or whatever.
Well, and that becomes some of the problem when you get to the end and everybody starts to commingle. You have a couple of characters who are pretty essential in their own split time or whatever, and they become less important, like Grey Worm. When everybody turned on Grey Worm at the end, it's like, oh, I wish Jon would just kill that guy. But you know what? He was the same guy throughout the entire series, and it just starts to muddle. So that's kind of one of those sort of pros for just following like 1-2 main characters. But the thing about Lord of the Rings is, even though you did have quite a few characters, I mean, you had your council and everything, but they all kind of gelled a lot more.
And there's one common goal, right?
Yeah.
You had like one main quest. Are we holding hands? Are we interlocking fingers? Ez and I are sharing a mic.
I've
so
seen a lot tonight.
It's my fault. I'm sorry.
No, this is a blessing. Another thing, this is since we're just kind of spitballing show stuff here. I think we've talked about this prior. I'm not sure, but I do like that. Now that I've had time to divorce myself from the idea of Aragorn, because I didn't like it at first, young Aragorn, and then I got really excited about it because like, give me more of my hero, and throw Viggo Mortensen in there as old Aragorn. By the way, I like that we're coming down in the Second Age, because it's the perfect point where we can move forward towards the Third Age of the films, but we could also, at that point, work our way backward to the First Age and move forward. I think it's like the perfect point to start, because you're not going to be going back to the beginning and having people who, like me, who don't know the Silmarillion going, oh, what in the heck is this? Like, who are these people? What am I seeing? It's not so detached that it's going to alienate people. You could have Sauron. People go, oh, I know Sauron. He's the bad guy in Lord of the Rings. We didn't get enough of him. You could have the forging of the rings. Oh, okay, that's where they came from. Oh, this is how all these people were deceived. And then it could set that anchor there so that when you go back to the First Age, you could work your way up towards that. So long term, I think it's smart, right?
Right. Well, it's not as big of a jump, right? It's not. I need like that. It's not. This is why we need video.
Having too much fun.
This is why we need video on the podcast, which I want Kev to talk about in just one sec. So it's not. You're not jumping from third age clear back to the very beginning.
Right.
And that's what I think that's huge, and you can connect with the Ring and Sauron, like you said. So.
And we have Sherson and Phil working on the fourth age right now in the Bywater Post, so they're going to write. I think Tolkien has appointed it from Beyond the Grave, and they're going to be creating that fourth age, the Return of Morgoth. It's coming back. Right. So,
one more thing I wanted these guys to discuss here about the show. I heard you talking about Peter Jackson.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, because I thought that was we had that conversation last week. We were talking about whether or not could Peter Jackson stay involved in the show, or I'm sorry, kind of keep himself, out from, the I don't know, like actually directing and just taking over. What? So
there's a lot of sidebars.
So okay,
so it's a Dave and Ez podcast. How's it going?
We're actually back to where we started. No, seriously, you guys had a good talk about that, right? I mean, good discussion. Like, is there?
Yeah. So Lane had brought up, he doesn't. I think you were saying you didn't want to see Peter Jackson have like a controlling interest in the series, and I said if you're like if he was on the sidelines that'd be great. Yes. And I was like, could you really see Peter Jackson being on the sidelines of anything?
And I said no.
Yeah, he said.
I was like, no, you're probably right.
It's kind of a big deal.
He is kind of a big deal, and just by reputation and body of work, yeah, it probably couldn't happen.
But I think people would naturally defer to him.
They would. Yeah, they would.
Just because he's the one that resurrected, the whole thing.
So what you're saying is if he's on as a consult and you're the director and you want to go consult with him, but you're like, what? I don't really like that idea. What are people going to say? You didn't take Peter Jackson's advice. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what I was kind of thinking.
Well, that's a similar parallel to like George Lucas and Star Wars.
Oh, that's true.
So it's like how much George Lucas can you take? Because they've cut him out of a lot,
and he's willingly kind of cut himself out a lot too, hasn't he?
But again, for that parallel, he created this.
Sure.
But Peter Jackson came on, created a movie,
recreated it in a way.
Yes.
Right. Filmed something that was deemed unfilmable. Right. We forget that. People said never going to make a movie. It's impossible.
There was an animated movie.
And right. Which they didn't really finish, did they? Did they finish that all the way? Yeah. But
it was good.
So now that
it really wasn't bad. I kind of liked it too.
I haven't seen it. But you had a good point there, and as you're saying that, I'm thinking to myself, I think genuinely that Peter Jackson is a person who could like step back. I think he could be someone who's like, okay, this young director, they've got an idea. I'm going to give my advice. I'm going to be here to help, but I don't have to micromanage and try and give too much influence. I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, 100%. I just have no inkling of what goes on in the mind of Peter Jackson other than what we see on screen.
He likes toys,
right?
And fight scenes.
Yeah, see, but again, that's the thing is like, what would be his contribution? I mean, what would you necessarily say? Hey, Peter. What do you think about this? Or like, I mean, are you want him to read the script? Do you want him to hey, do you like this prop over here or something? I mean, what would be his contribution?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the way I was seeing it is that if they brought him on as a consult, he would be, if I'm the young director, as you said, and here's what I want to do. If Peter's willing to help me accomplish my goals, then that's where I think it would be good. But if he's like, I don't know if I really like that, and here's what you should do, and you're kind of like, well, this is what I'm here for. This now it's not mine anymore. So I don't. That's what I was kind of wondering about.
I think too, like if I had a question, I'm just putting I haven't thought this way before. I'm thinking I'm this young director, right? And maybe I have an idea of how I want to film it, but I also want it to fit into the universe of Middle Earth. That was the one thing about PJ that he did, where he would do all this pre-visualization stuff, where he would take a small camera, he'd build rough miniatures, and he would like be able to see how he wanted it to look before. he was almost kind of like a cinematographer that way too. And his cinematographer that he worked with, Andrew Lesney, is no longer alive. He passed away. And so PJ is kind of like that last like main creator of the way, because think about how we fall in love with the way it looks.
Yeah.
Right? It's the story, but it's so visually stunning. Before that, we hadn't seen something like Lord of the Rings. So I think maybe if I'm the director, I'm like, man, I don't know how to pull this one off, or I need a little bit of help. I might have my ideas, go have a coffee with them and say, all right, help me work through this. This is a big battle scene. This is an emotional scene between two of our favorite characters. How would you do it, man? I just want to hear how you would do it, and then I'll...
So you're seeing Peter Jackson as less like, not so much like a sous chef. You're seeing him more of like a Gordon Ramsay and...
Yes. I'm working in his kitchen, maybe, right?
Like Kitchen Rescue or whatever that show is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that makes more sense. I can see that. He's not going to be a sous chef, though.
Right, no, right.
Okay.
No, so he made the main restaurant, and this is a branch starting up in Soho, right? And he's put me in charge.
I get it.
And I've got a question on how to do the sushi, because I've never made sushi. And he goes, bro, it's not a sushi restaurant, it's steak. And I go, I should be fired.
Wow. Lots of food references.
Sorry, I just ate. It was delicious. Thank you, Lane.
That was great. Here's another question to you guys real quick while my friend gathers himself.
It's the longest quick council ever.
Are you checking the time? I don't know. I'm in charge of the time, okay? I'm the time lord over here, all right? Okay. No, but I one more question on this. So the other thing is, if you are Amazon Studios, I guess it's another, it's a plus for them to say, you know what? To put his name, just to attach it. I think to say
executive producer.
Right. He was in some way involved, and that's something Peter has to think about too.
Spielberg used to do that too, right? I was just watching about when you assemble the square table, David. I would love to come on and talk about Back to the Future, my first love. And when they couldn't get anyone to fund the movie. Zemeckis had like he lucked out and had a successful movie before, and they had tried Back to the Future before and had to scrap it because no one would produce it. And then he had one little nice, I can't remember what it was. It was like his first big hit, and they were like, hey, we've got this idea, and it was Spielberg who was like, I love that idea, let's go with it. So if you look at some versions of Back to the Future, it says Spielberg's name above Zemeckis even. Like Steven Spielberg presents Back to the Future, a film by Robert Zemeckis. So yeah, you put PJ's name on it, then we know it's all kosher. It's part of the film universe, and it pairs in nicely. But without him, I don't know if he wants that responsibility either. I think he wants to just be a guy to be like a coach for the future of Middle Earth.
No, it makes way more sense in my head now, because when I thought about it at first, I was like, how on earth could that work?
Yeah, he couldn't, right? Yeah, he couldn't be there and not be involved because he loves it too much, I think.
The other cool thing about having him involved and starting, we're assuming at the beginning of Second Age,
yes,
you're opening yourself up for like an unlimited amount of. So if it catches on, if they go micro at first instead of macro, if it really catches on, you could have something that goes on for
forever,
seasons and seasons and seasons.
Yes.
So it's exciting.
It is really exciting. More Lord of the Rings, more Middle Earth is never bad, right?
Right. We're having too much fun here, shoving microphones in people's faces. No, honestly, this has been great. I mean, it's good we got, because I thought you guys were having a great conversation earlier about all that stuff, and it's stuff you and I talk about, but to get different perspectives is a lot of fun and is amazing. So, you got something else there, buddy?
The Tolkien movie.
Oh, the Tolkien movie? We got some more? Yeah, okay, let's talk about that, yeah.
I did also want to say, watch the news feed. I'm sure tomorrow some big news will come out for the show. That maybe, I don't know, they've announced actors or something. It's always the day after we release an episode that stuff comes out. But Travis Sigler also posted that there's a company in New Zealand. I can't remember the exact details, but they're starting to like a casting call for guys who can be villains and knights, and so leading us even more into like the idea of, okay, there's going to be some knights from Numenor, and so people are being cast. even if it's just extras and background. So it'll be really cool to see. I don't know how or when we'll find out like who a lead actor is, who a lead actress is. Spy pictures from a set. It's going to be really cool to see that stuff start to leak out and give us plenty to talk about and time to read because we got to get into the Silmarillion. The Tolkien biopic is being released digitally this next week and will be available for Blu-ray, I think on August 6th is when that's coming out. So if you didn't get to see it in theaters, get yourself a copy. I think Sarah pre-ordered the Blu-ray, so the Smith household here in the Shire will have a copy. We should be playing that during the long-expected party. We should, shouldn't we?
Absolutely. Throw
that up somewhere. I mean, it's just like a beautiful film. We saw it with these two gentlemen here and had an amazing time. And then we went to the Pivot, the Friends tribute bar afterwards, and had a great conversation. And it was an awesome memory. So exciting that's coming out. We did have a poll last week. I think it was, would you rather eat fish or steak? And
depends on the fish and
25%. That's not what it was at all. I can't keep it all straight. It was something. Do you have it there?
Are you serious? Did you really just put me on the spot?
On the spot.
On Spotify.
This is unreal, guys. This is unreal. I mean,
let me explain something real quick. Actually, so my laptop is broken, and I'm a sleep deprived father. So I haven't pulled up the poll, but I think it was something about
scrolling.
There it is. Regarding Lord of the Rings on the Prime. Oh yeah, Lord of the Rings on Prime. How are you feeling about Scotland kind of taking the back seat? Maybe not even being a location now. 66% said we're all for it. Bring on New Zealand, and 34% of you said really sad about Scotland. 210 people voted. So majority rules. We're excited about New Zealand, and it'll be good. There's so many places they haven't even filmed in that country, and it's such a diverse country that it'll be perfect. Be perfect. Ed, you got something to say, babe?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for putting up with this production so far. No,
professionals.
Yes.
Of the highest standard.
Of the highest standard, yeah. No, and we want to thank Kev. And
about video.
About video, yeah. Actually, well, so I'm about to turn it over to him. Good grief!
Get your act together, Lane.
David. Oh, he's gonna be an absolute wreck. It's gonna be an absolute wreck. But no, So before we're gonna switch gears here in a little bit. So before we let Kev go, I did want to talk just a little bit more about the studio. Have you told Kev that you haven't cleaned up the garage yet?
No, it's mostly clean. There's a final sweep after this episode, so when you go out there, don't freak out. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Don't worry about it. We'll be good to go before the morning starts. Yeah, so it's coming along. Got all the materials out there. We are ready to break concrete tomorrow, and we've also talked a lot about can you kind of just talk to us about what this process has been like working with Lane, Butterbur, and myself. And also the idea that we might want to go do some video stuff. We brought Nate in and we've kind of looked around and maybe set the studio up in a way in which we could record more video going forward. So,
yeah, absolutely. So I drive all the time, and of course this is not what you were supposed to be doing. But as I'm driving, I listen to podcasts, and by listen I mean I have YouTube on.
Yeah.
So now I'm not watching.
Yeah.
But just like you would in a conversation, and that's the part that I was trying to bring up to y'all.
Yeah.
In a conversation, you don't necessarily have to look at the person all the time, but when something happens in a conversation where you need to see, it's happened a couple times here with the passing of the mics and everything else.
The interlocking of fingers.
Exactly. Yes. It was beautiful, by the way. But when you have that kind of thing, there's a connection I think that's lost if you don't have at least the ability to look, even if it's just for that.
Yeah. Right.
It's not like anybody that's listening to a podcast that has video is staring at it most of the time.
Right. Yes.
But when there's something that you do want to see, or if somebody's talking with their hands or doing just anything that happens in a conversation that makes it, that much more connected. Yeah. I think that video allows some people that wouldn't normally listen to podcasts come in, because I listen to, I have no idea, probably 20 different podcasts. That's the only thing I'm subscribed to on YouTube is podcasts, and all of them are video except for yours and Sam Harris. Well, now he does have video now. But and somebody had to convince him. He's an intellectual. Right. All he talks about is giant, heady ideas and problems and whatever.
Yes. So why do you need video for that? It's probably what he, it's sort of.
That's exactly what he said. And another podcaster convinced him.
Like you're doing for us.
Yeah. Just you want to have it for the people that want it.
Yeah, it brings a personability to things, because like you guys are pretty animated too while you're talking, and
it's such a nice way to say crazy, Dave. I love it.
Well, I mean, I could shoot straight with you. I could shoot straighter with you, just as straight as Ez is. But anyway, no. But in all seriousness, though, it brings that personability to the to who you're listening to, and I've known the two of you for a long time, Ez a little bit longer than Lane, but. We went to school together and played instruments, and I won't tell you which ones, but
we did, yeah.
And we had our adventures around our hometown, driving around in Ez's giant Oldsmobile boat. I remember one time we were out and about, and his tape deck on his car was broken, so he had a little one of those tape recorder things sitting on the floor, and we were listening to my grandpa's bluegrass group, and then his church's
some preaching, wasn't it?
Yeah,
some preaching or something.
So we were cool. We were really
cool, man. We called that recorder was like SIG, man. We used to carry that around, and we would record stuff, and then I'd play old cassette tapes on.
Yeah. But like knowing the two of you for as long as I have, I'm really proud about what you've been able to do with this particular podcast. And like, I've interacted or I've seen all the posts. I'm not much of a social media person. I just don't really like it.
Yeah.
But I see all these people on here, and they're contributing to the group, and they're making things happen. Like literally you had, the Shire rats come through with an amazing baby shower, which I just now gave you the gifts for, because I forgot back then, and then I kept forgetting and forgetting.
Shel Silverstein is never late.
Yeah. And they can't hear you, Lane. They can't hear you.
It's great.
They still can't hear you.
I'm holding them up, making you come to me.
I said a very romantic thank you that no one else is going to hear except for Dave.
Gotcha.
Dude, your hands are really warm.
But no, I agree. I think it would add to everybody's experience. Just periodically they get to see your faces on video, and there's a connection. Like, because for me, I'm bad with names, but I can pick out faces. Yeah, so you see the faces, you see you guys working hard and playing around and having a good time behind the microphones, and it adds another layer to it.
Well, and one thing Lane has brought up, and I think Kev mentioned this too, is that we have stuff we want to feature right in the studio. And so in part of the building, we've talked to Kev about that, and where we want to have this back wall where we can kind of feature stuff and everything. So we're excited for that too, I guess.
Well, it's just, you're talking about it now, and I think it's just kind of hitting me too. We're a book club, and the friendships that we formed are the most important part of this entire deal. And if I'm thinking video would be a way for you guys to feel even more like you're in this room with us, hanging out with us, meeting every fortnight for a book club. And I think in a lot of ways that would enhance the experience even for us somehow. I don't know, maybe because we know that people will be seeing us and we'll feel like we're kind of connected. I don't know. It's just going to be another level of that friendship and being present, I guess. I don't know. Am I rambling?
Yes, you are. But we also we've had to bring Kev in to help us build this studio because we don't know what we're doing. We also have Nate coming to help us with some production stuff, right? Possibly. Is that can I say that? Is that?
Yeah, I know he is down.
Okay,
absolutely. He's excited.
If he didn't know, I mean,
now
you've talked to him, haven't you, Lee?
I've been meaning to text you, Nate. It's coming. Hopefully, I sent it to you before you hear this.
Doggone it, man! It's out there now because we need help with. I mean, it would be it's a step up, and we want it to look good, and we want So I don't know. We're kind of telling you. I wanted to talk about this because I'm excited. I'm really excited because I think it's like the next step, and we're getting into Return of the King. We are going to be around the time that the studio's like finished up. We'll be well into it, and then going into the Silmarillion. It'd just be really cool. And then when we get into the show, we wanted to do reactions. We wanted to do some sit downs, bring people over. And if it is week by week, we could maybe have big discussions, theories, and predictions. You guys could send that in. So that's the whole. That's sort of the big plan, I guess. So, yeah. Oh man! All right. Well, friends, Kev, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me,
Kevin. I want to thank you for being here, Dave. We're going to continue with the reread here in a second, but first, I think we need to go make sure we got those horizontal studs out there. What do you think?
Absolutely, sir.
Go make sure. They're really rare, so someone might have stolen them out of the garage.
Have you told that story yet?
Have I? Did we not? We didn't talk about it already?
You probably don't want that on the air.
No, we don't want that.
Let's leave that top secret. You got to come to Amanda to figure that one out.
This week on Return of the King, the Siege of Gondor.
Gavin and Gondor. Wake up, Minas Tirith. We're under siege. That's right. That smoke you see is bad news and not weather of this world. Let's toss it over to Dave. Dave, what's the weather report for today?
Well, it's pretty dark and stormy and cloudy. It'll make you shiver right down to your bones.
Any help coming, Dave?
I don't know.
Absolutely not. And is that fire I see down there, how's the morning commute going to affect us?
Yeah, guys. So Sticklebats is headed there now with the fire crew, and they're going to. Well, we're not sure actually. It looks like it's artificial flame.
Is that orc I smell? What's on the menu, boys?
They're orking for the weekend.
Good thing it's Friday night.
All right, friends. So here we are. We are back, and we are ready to discuss this chapter. And I just want you guys to understand.
Yeah.
There's a siege happening right now at this very table.
I kind of feel like tomorrow it's going to be fun.
Yes.
Obviously, breaking ground on the studio.
How hard is
But
it?
it feels like it's going to be a battle.
It's going to be tough.
I feel like I can't get to sleep. I feel I'm looking out over the fields of Pelennor.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, here it comes.
It's going to be a lot of work.
Here it comes. Yes.
Yeah. You look out there and you see all of those, the Harad, you've got the orc army, you've got everybody showing up, and it's like, what are we going to do?
But have you lost faith in your steward? Or have you found
Wow.
a new hero that you could follow? Has the darkness swallowed you whole?
Is there a white rider, if you will?
Well, we know there's a black one in this.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
And he's a pretty big
The description, man. The description is even scarier than what the film does, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
When the hood is reveals just the floating crown there, I'm like, I forgot he rode on horseback.
Yep.
Yeah.
He wasn't on a fell beast, and I just think that's almost scarier, isn't it? I don't need one.
Yeah, it
I don't need
is.
a dragon flying around. I'm gonna come kick your balls.
Well, it's also the reaction of the other characters.
Whoa!
Yeah.
It is the reaction of the other characters.
Next on the Siege of Gondor, has Gandalf met his match?
Oh, my God.
Is Denethor using a Palantir, and will Faramir survive?
Is that in the chapter? I don't know. No, I didn't. What? Here we go.
Next week.
We're back.
Next
We're back. Let's actually, what part of the siege that I was feeling was the tiredness that is kind of
I
like
know, man.
sieging
I
our
haven't seen
minds.
you like this in a while.
I think I'm fine.
Oh, a while. What? Like
But I'm
2
also
weeks
not. Wow.
2 weeks ago at this time.
No, this is actually a really good chapter, and
yeah.
I think the way we're going to approach it, just because we know we'll probably go for 4 hours here, is to do major takeaways. We talked about this. We said there's not a lot of deep and sweaty background stuff we have to go into. It's really big, major plot points, and it kind of it's showing off like the enemy. Finally, now we're starting.
Yes.
You know how sometimes the best enemy is one that is hidden and one that we don't really get to see right until the very end, and we hear a lot about, but we never really see. Yeah. And we've seen tidbits, we've seen some teasing, but now we have this really the
revelation of
the power of Sauron's power that's coming out here. So All right, I'm going to read a summary, and I think this will help us just kind of get through everything, hopefully, and we'll pull some of our favorite parts here. So, Siege of Gondor. So this is the 4th chapter. Back in Minas Tirith, Pippin received his new uniform.
Yeah.
Nice and pristine, looking good. He's part of the Tower Guard. He spent a long day serving Lord Denethor, Gandalf, and captains of the West. He chats with
Little squire, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he was. He actually, I mean, he fulfills his oath and stands. You know, he does his best, stands there, and I'd say he's even more loyal than some of the other members of the Tower Guard.
Yep. Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Yeah, we see that, don't we, for sure?
I think So, but Baragon is there with him as well. He kind of chats with him quite a bit around the outer wall of the citadel. Suddenly, though, they heard a terrifying shriek of a black rider.
Pippin knows that sound. Took him back to the Marish, right?
Yeah, it did. It did. Very scary sound, and it kind of... what was interesting is when I was reading this during my reread, I thought it was almost as if he froze, right? It said that they kind of froze. And
well,
you're like,
and then, you know, kind of to back this up, you have a change in the weather. It's unnatural. Everybody has this unnatural fear. This darkness has sort of surrounded everyone, which, of course, is, you know, the tricks of Sauron. And, one thing I wanted to point out here, and this is just on your literal first page.
go for it.
What does Pippin ask, and what's for breakfast?
Well, that's the thing. Is
Through
that
all of this,
Yep.
that's what he's concerned about.
What's for breakfast?
What's for breakfast?
Yeah, so that's actually kind of the ironic part too, is in fulfilling his duties, he needs to be well fed.
Yeah.
But
He's not used to this.
Well, and it's a very big shift because Gandalf tells him, I believe, that they're rationed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
he gets some bread, some thin milk,
Yep.
and some butter.
I mean,
Yep,
thankfully
that's
we
right.
have a ration expert with us here.
It's true.
Oh, I didn't even make that connection. Real life.
I did. Let's go.
Real life and the chapter yet again.
What are they
go.
talking about?
Mirrors.
What are they talking about
What's
now?
going on? Something's happening, guys. Something.
He's eating some MREs, isn't he?
Something's happening.
Dave's 45 Auto YouTube.
Go check it out. Hidden gem for those of you who
punch that like button.
Yeah, and subscribe. But yeah, so let me kind of continue on here. So the men are they're terrified.
Yeah.
They realize as he and Baragon, as they're looking out, that Faramir is on his way back. Right, he's riding with several companions, trying to make haste. Shadowfax has to dart out there, and Gandalf does his thing, raises his hand. The Nazgul cry out, and they circle away.
And they don't want to challenge him at this point because their captain's not there.
Yes, exactly, and that's the big deal. You know, this is right up to the end of the chapter. Who is this captain? What's the big deal? We learn more about. We kind of hone in on one of the Black
We've met him
Riders.
before. Isn't that the crazy thing?
Yes. Yeah.
When they were less bold, it's like,
Yeah. So, so we have a little conversation between Faramir and Denethor up in the chamber. They talk about what happened between Sam and Frodo and the ring and whether it should have come to Minas Tirith or you know the whole biz there, which is a
Boromir going versus Faramir, whose decision that was.
Right.
This actually underlines how sharp Denethor can be, because in the movies you kind of get this wizened, kind of just old crotchety guy sitting on, you know, the low throne below the high throne, who really would, you know, in all honesty, would rather have the power.
Yeah.
But this Denethor is networking. He's smart. He knows things before they're going to happen, or before he's potentially told.
Stuff he should know.
He
He
can read
knows.
body language. He can see not into you, but he can read you better than most people are, and he's a lot more regal than what you potentially would have gotten in the movies.
Who wasn't it Pippin who, when he first noticed him, said that he was not unlike Aragorn?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and
right.
I mean, that's obviously the lineage deal as well, but interesting that we don't. When I watch the films, I don't go, man, that Denethor here reminds me of Aragorn, you know. But that's something that Pippin, when he first saw him, and partially because of who like biologically who he is, but also I'm sure his mannerisms and the way he was, and there had to have been some sort of wisdom there. And
Yeah.
But then the question is, what was that flashing we saw up in the tower?
That's a great question.
What was that light?
That is a great.
How did he know all these things?
Yep. Yep. There's something there, friends. So we'll.
I love it, dude. I love it.
Yeah. We will get into that. So now, a few more tidbits here. We'll kind of get the big pieces out of the way. So when Faramir comes back, we have that conversation, but he seems bitter. We get the whole. There's some lines that are pulled.
Directly into the film.
Yeah.
Directly into the film.
I forgot how similar it was. Like,
Yep.
I was like, I don't need to read this because I remember exactly what happened.
It's pretty cool. I mean, other than, I think Dave said it right. Denethor is characterized. I don't really know that I like as he seemed a little bit too crazy, a little bit too.
He's a very cornered animal in the film.
Yeah, you could
right?
goad him into things. It seemed like, and I don't know that
Yeah.
that's like he seemed a little bit more with it.
And in the conversations with Gandalf here, he's holding his own in their their
those
back
looks
and
they
forth.
have.
Their repartee here is it's very unlike, because like in the movies, Denethor's the rule of Gondor is mine and mine alone.
There's one scene,
But
they have one scene together. Yeah,
But in this, he's able to use some his logic from his where he's sitting.
Yeah.
But obviously, sort of the rift with Faramir. Not only did he would have preferred that Faramir had went and died than Boromir.
straight up says it.
But he also has this I don't know, thing in the back of his head where it's like, you know what? You're more of a pupil of that wizard. You're more trying to be the gentle soul of an old king during a peaceful time.
Yep.
But, here and now, in this time when we're facing true terror, I don't need you. I need Boromir.
Yeah,
That's
I need a
who
warrior.
I need.
Yeah, I don't need a wizard.
And the other thing that I thought was interesting, parallel between the movies.
Bring it home, baby. Come on.
So when Faramir basically goes off to defend Osgiliath, that was pretty much solely a decision by Denethor. But in the book, it's actually more of a round table discussion with his captains and his advisors.
Yes.
Now, he made the ultimate decision. Yes, you should go. But there were other voices there that were also saying, we need to hold this city.
Yeah.
And I keep forgetting the other prince, Imrahil.
Yep.
He's like, well, we've got to defend this place. So you've got enough men. We need to go here. Yeah. So there's a little bit more in the way of strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movie, it was more like, sort of vengeful. He's sitting there listening to Pippin sing as he's eating a tomato and it's like dripping down his throat.
Yeah.
Or down his throat.
Yeah. Both probably.
Beer in the throat, it's good for you. But yeah, in this one, it's a little there's obviously that anger, but there's also some resemblance of logic in correlation with his captains.
My friends, I am no longer sieged with tiredness.
The fire has been awakened.
Fire is here, friends. I am literally
The drums deep.
You're on to some stuff that's huge. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this real quick, and then let's dive into the details here. Because basically, the next big parts are that, Faramir goes. He is persuaded there after that. And
then they watch the whole thing unfold.
Yeah, they watch the whole thing unfold, and it's sort of just there's not much that you can do. Gandalf has to then go
again,
and
go out, and
the Prince of Dol Amroth is out there doing his thing, and the knights. Great
I love
stuff.
that
we'll
perspective too. That we get that from Pippin from up high.
Yes,
looking down. Because we forget about the vantage point that Minas Tirith would have too, where you almost kind of see this thing unfold, like a scene from a film. You know what I mean? They're up high, they're perched, and they're able to see miles and miles and miles off. It would be both. It'd be like so informative, but also terrifying, right? Because you could see what's happened, but you might not be able to go down and intervene unless you're Gandalf, unless you're writing Shadowfax or you're Prince Imrahil, and it's just nuts. Like that would be both. I don't know. It'd be a terrifying ordeal.
You see how beloved Faramir is by these Gondorians, and they also in a way start to turn on Denethor because they're starting to see the treatment as well, and that's starting to pipe out.
Yeah.
And as you read this, you constantly see the attempt to grip on hope. Faramir, he'll save us. And it's always like, that's our hope. That's our hope. But as soon as he's passes them, the darkness traps them again, and the hope's gone. And then Imrahil, it's like, that's a prince. That's a group of men
They need heroes
that we could follow. But their influence is so fleeting that it can't stick in their mind because of everything else that's going on.
Even later on in the battle, when Gandalf and the prince are going
Right.
to and fro, it's like as soon as their presence is gone, they're almost like ready to flee.
Right. And then the other thing, just with Gandalf, not everybody's ready to follow Mithrandir here.
Yep.
But Pippin has always been, as long as Gandalf's here, we're good.
Yeah.
Man, big moment for him.
But the other thing here is that when Pippin then goes to find Gandalf later, he sees fear. So think about that the only bright shining point that you have is this mythical wizard that you have followed all over the place. He's literally done things that you can't imagine, but you see his fear.
Yeah.
And that's the point of hopelessness that is falling on the city, and that is why
Aragorn's better, is what you're trying to say.
And that is why I'm not going to say it, because that's for another chapter.
Here's the thing.
It's called Return of the King, not The Wizard Saves the Day.
Here's the thing.
I'm joking.
No, I know.
He has
I know
some
you are. I know.
amazing moments. Are you turning me down, by the way?
Yes, I am a little bit.
Shutting me off.
But hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah, I wanna hear it.
Because I don't want this to go unsaid.
Okay.
That
is everyone listening having as much fun as we are, by the way?
Everyone,
because this chapter is incredible.
This is where, like
This
Kev
chapter is
said, you should
incredible.
have a camera, because I literally, the articulation, the power, and the way in which
It's
that was
the
presented.
voice, man, and the
is,
man.
No, I'm serious. It is actually so good because, as you said, it's very well articulated.
Yes.
Hope in Gandalf.
Yes.
Meeting then fear. And then
Yes.
seeing fear in what you had your hope in. Oh,
Yeah.
That'll shake you. That will shake you. And the other thing, we're just going to do this. I don't really, because I want to have these conversations, and while we're fired up, I want to have them. I don't want
baby.
to, hop back in here and start going line by line and then lose this momentum, because I want you guys to think about something. When Faramir is riding back, you said this, and this is something I was like waiting for, and we'll get but no, we're going there. Think about if you were, I don't know, just imagine that you're Faramir riding back in, or even better, I'm a member of, I'm a citizen of Gondor, or I'm part of, the guard or whatever, and here comes Faramir, this leader. The way that like, the reason you like him so much is the way the other characters kind of looked at him, and the way they viewed him. When he rides back in, there's hope. So we talk about where you put your hope, and if you're a Gondorian, Faramir's back. And there's such hope that comes in with him, but also remember
they didn't
they're
think he would
cheering.
come back either.
Yeah. They're like cheering, but at the same time, and in the same line, in the same sentence, Tolkien kind of tells us, yes, they're excited, yes, they're cheering, but they can see what these men have gone through.
Yeah,
and they've never seen their men, their captain, like this.
Right. And the thing is, and this might be somewhat unpopular, but I think it sort of needs said at this point. There's no one in the city that's great enough to truly lead this city full of scared, frightened, terrified people. And that doesn't mean that Faramir's not great, Imrahil's not great, Gandalf isn't great.
Sure.
But they aren't great enough. They don't have...
Can I even...
Go ahead.
Can I even say it?
Go ahead.
It's not really their city.
No.
Let's go.
It's not really their city.
Let's go.
You could rely on Faramir for almost anything, but again, they've pointed this out several times where it's like, you see the remnants of the great kings of old. You see the remnants of the bloodline, and you say, you know what? He looks like Aragorn.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like him.
Yeah.
He looks like they could be kin, but they don't necessarily look at him in those seconds after they're gone and say, we still have hope even though he's passed us by.
Yeah.
They lose that to Sauron's
stay in
magic.
Here. Yeah.
So
a shadow of things to come. That's what we've been seeing, right?
Yeah.
A shadow of things to come. So we talked about that. We talked about that last, I think, chapter. Maybe it was last time we were with Denethor, I can't remember, 2 chapters ago, and we were talking about how he could see far off and all those different things.
Yep.
And the command of the Seeing Stones. And that comes up again here. Gandalf realized that there has been a shift.
Yeah.
Something has hit the core, got right to the enemy, and drove them out.
Yeah.
In almost a haste,
Yes.
a hasty siege of Gondor.
And how at first he thinks it may have been what Pippin did, right? It was Pippin's use of the stone, and then he deducts that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Perhaps it was Aragorn.
Yeah.
Perhaps it was the king revealing himself that made Sauron sweat and realize, I gotta go out. I gotta strike now. And haven't we talked? The whole thing has been everything is timing anyway. But this whole story has been about either thinking you took too long, you waited too long to act, or acting too quickly.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And how
Don't be hasty.
Don't be hasty. The end said it best, my friend. Dang, dude, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
But just how I love how in the end it kind of does that. But just how Sauron's weakness has been his overconfidence, and yet when he acts out of rashness, it proves ill still.
Yeah.
Like it's just nuts, dude. And then I'm thinking what truly was decision, what was destiny? Like how much of this was just it was prophecy, it was destined to be versus any decisions made.
Well, I thought of that when Gandalf starts to speak about the idea that Gollum had accompanied Frodo and Cirith Ungol and heading there, and the dread and that conversation that took place. So it's almost like, what's going on there? It was that Gandalf gave him the advice, but what was it? What laid on his heart to give him that advice at that time? And you know what I'm saying? Like, because it persuaded him, and there's something, and Gandalf can see far off enough to say that there's something there. I don't know what it is. He even perceives the treachery in taking him, taking Frodo and Sam up the stairs.
Right.
Yeah, the fellow, what was that line? The fellowship is on the edge of a knife.
Stands on the edge of a knife.
Stands on the edge of a knife right
Stray
now.
but a little.
We're basically on the edge of that knife right now in either diving into the pit of despair or potentially having new hope. And one of the things that I kind of picked out of this is the primal, almost like fight or flight fear that's being done here. Because like you have men clad in their armor. They've defended this city for so long against the same evil. Just right now we have a magnification of it, and they're leaving their post. They are reacting in that fight or flight mentality. So much of this is just like a primal fear. And then we go back to the beginning of time and the discord that Melkor put into this great song here. And it all traces back to the base fear that this world is over, that we've literally met an evil that we as men cannot defeat. We are not great enough to do this. And it all just feeds into this. We need this great man. We need, whatever we need.
Yes.
We need something more than what we are.
What we have. Yes.
And then there was the line again with Gandalf, talking about, did Aragorn make his challenge?
Yeah. Yep.
And that is so pivotal here. And again, you talked about the timing of all this stuff. Now we've ratcheted up because Aragorn has made his challenge. He has revealed himself.
Yep.
Now all he needs to do is he needs to come and take his throne.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Revealed himself and the blade.
Yes.
And how important that part is too, right? That this is he is of lineage of the great kings of old, but he also carries the only weapon that's defeated.
That's right.
Sauron.
That's right.
I love how that point is made. I mean, it's made in the movies quite a bit, obviously, because it climaxes in this third film, because that's when he gets Narsil, even though he's been carrying it this whole time in the books. But just this, like the importance of that weapon.
Yeah. Well, and what's better, I think, and we talked about this a couple chapters ago, is that Aragorn from the get-go has been prepping.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been seeing. He's been revealing
Remember when
himself.
he watched the Hobbits with Tom on their way
Yes.
to,
Yes.
Even you think about what the Bounders did, what the Rangers in the North did. They protected Shire.
Yeah.
On Gandalf's orders.
Yep.
Right.
Right? Like the foresight is just nuts, dude.
It is. It is. Yeah. He's been prepping for something, and he like a great. I don't know.
I love that he doesn't even like the thing that gives me hope as a human being, right? Mm-hmm. And it's him being like what I wish my spirit animal was, right? Like, is that he doesn't even always know.
Yeah.
Aragorn doesn't always know what's coming next. But you're right. He knows that he's preparing for something. He knows he has to be ready for anything.
Yep.
He knows he has to be ready to take on that responsibility that destiny throws in his way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I was never a fan of superheroes growing up. I
like Batman, Iron Man.
Batman and Iron Man.
I listened to Contingency Plan. I know.
I had talked about that recently. So they were men. Granted, they had a lot of money, but they used their brains to outsmart criminals.
Yep.
And there's a certain part of me that loves this story because it all comes back. You had the elves. You have, the wizards. You have magic. You have Ents. Mm-hmm. You have just all this amazing stuff that's so high above the average man. But in the end, what you need is that man to come through. And I don't want to sound misogynistic or anything like that, but in this case, it's dealing with Aragorn.
Sure. Yeah.
You're dealing with a man.
Yeah.
That has to come forth here. And again, that's the thing that could potentially save our day here.
And I love how you bring up that point, right? Because if you so looking ahead, right, you think about you need that man to come and save his city as the king.
Now we're going. Yeah.
But then you've got this ultimate villain that no man can kill.
Let's go.
Right?
Let's go.
And I love that he did that. I love that he showed
me too.
the strength and power of both man and woman. And how that it's just the parody he shows us. Hello, precious. Hello, Charles. It's unbelievable.
It makes you feel as a normal person that you can do more than what you can. Because again, I was Superman. Yeah, I could do anything. I don't want somebody to save me. I want to save myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So
have the strength to
and it'll make you as a common person feel like we could be saved by this king.
And then the hobbits. We think about the hobbits, just ordinary lowly creatures,
and
right?
And the other thing too, just to track on Pippin here a little bit. Again, at the beginning, you had this darkness already coming around him.
Yeah.
But you had Pippin in the beginning saying, "What's for breakfast?
Yeah.
What do we got for breakfast?" Yeah. The fear is there, but again, this simple hobbit, maybe not the most amazing hobbit in most people's viewpoint, because we so much about Bilbo in the early stories and Frodo and Sam and his heroism. But little Pippin here, what's for breakfast? Yeah. What's for breakfast? Hey, Baragorn, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that actually leads me to one more point. I want to talk about the real MVP of this particular chapter, and that's Baragorn. I mean,
wow,
this is a guy that literally they had their moment where they were frozen by the Nazgul, but at the very end, who could Pippin rely on out of anybody who's not going to run, who's not breaking his vow?
Didn't retreat.
Baragorn on the wall.
Yep.
And then he has to make a choice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's huge.
Does he stay on his watch, or does he help his captain?
That's right, man. Does he follow the orders of his steward, right?
His duty,
Right, yeah.
Well, and that's what's brought up later is kind of the madness. Is he a steward anymore, or is he a madman?
Yeah.
So that's sort of the...
Well, maybe if you're laying down in a big thing of tinder wood, wanting to get burned alive with your not quite dead son, and then it might be a little insane.
What did he see in that tower to cause him to become so hopeless?
Could you imagine constantly looking in the
could've just-
Palantir?
right, yeah, right.
I mean, Sauron's already coming.
Right. I mean, he
he's
just
shown
had
you
to look out
force.
his window to see.
What if
right?
he goes to gaze in it and it's
Right.
just the eye?
Right.
And he's like, we're done.
Yeah.
He sees me. Do you think Denethor
Which
actually
is where
saw?
I see right. No, and I think to myself that before Boromir's redemption, that's exactly the character we saw in his son, right?
Yeah.
That this whole thing was doomed. The Fellowship was doomed unless the ring was used, or at least taken to Minas Tirith, right? That was his dad's wishes.
You're talking about
Keep it in the vaults,
yeah,
right? Locked up.
Let's
and-
lock it in the vaults of a city where everybody's running away from their duty. He'll never get it in the vaults.
Yeah,
He can put it right next to the scrolls. It'll be great.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the argument that he makes, right? Is that I wouldn't take it for myself.
Yeah.
He tells Gandalf, right?
Well, unless in
Unless in-
the most dire
right.
of need.
Unless we needed it.
Exactly.
And then he got his son saying, back in Two Towers, I wouldn't pick it up if it laid on the road.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
what an incredible,
How different.
just a huge difference. And even, go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish
No,
our
you're good.
summary, right?
No, we're
Well,
good. We're good.
just in the beginning, because we've had this whole thing, right? This whole comparison of like Pippin's experience with Denethor and Merry's experience with Theoden, and I was thinking about how, Merry had duties and stuff, but his main duty was to give company to Theoden, to ride next to him. He was treated more like a son.
Yes.
And Tolkien
says
talks
that.
about, Merry says he thought of him as like a father.
Sure.
This guy he hadn't even known that long, right? And like contrasted to that, we've got Pippin who's made to wait on Denethor in this like cold tower, and there's not really, and even when he talks about his songs, he's saying they wouldn't be fit for this hall, and Denethor's like, well, why not?
Yeah, and
why wouldn't they be?
that-
Just the relationship is so different.
That was one line I did write down. Why should such songs be unfit for my halls, or times such as these?
Yeah.
Now, I actually kind of took that line a little bit less sarcastically, and basically saying, you have songs, why would they be unfit for my halls, or for times such as these? Why couldn't they be incorporated here? I mean, why do you think that for some, I almost felt it was like an attempt at a small act of kindness from a man who doesn't have much kindness left. Now, I could be wrong there, but at the same token, he's just sort of trying to pull it out. It's like, sing your songs.
Yeah.
I mean, why would they be unfit for here?
Right,
Sing them.
right.
Sing them, little Hobbit.
Or even maybe because this is such a dark hour for us, all the more, right? Happy songs from a land far away, to lift our spirits. But I just think that comparison of those two relationships is very it's very intentional, right? I think it's to show the state of Gondor versus the state of Rohan, and even their responses to Gandalf were, different. Like we talk about when Theoden came out of that clutch. It was his own. Like in the films, it seems like it's all Gandalf.
Yeah.
It was him pulling himself out. Whereas you have Denethor here, showing the same kind of doom and gloom, like vision of the future, and he chooses to succumb to that and to give up and to turn his back on hope. It's just, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Let me ask you two a question here and see what you think. So, what if, hypothetically, Theoden was the steward of Rohan?
Oh, geez, dude.
Gondor,
Steward of Gondor?
Yeah, or excuse me,
Yeah.
of Gondor, but with his personality. So if somehow you could transfer his personality
Right.
and also have him be like the steward of Gondor as Theoden as we know him to be.
Jeez, man.
What do you think that things would be different, or do you think that he could potentially fall or succumb to the same sort of darkness, because we know that he did
Right.
under the influence of Grima and
Wormtongue.
Yeah.
Saruman.
Huh.
But do you think it would be different given if he were the steward instead of Denethor?
Oh, that's a tough question. That
That sounds like a strawberries with cream.
That's tough. And here's why I think it's tough, because of the Palantir, and because the influence of Wormtongue, and whether you needed Gandalf's intervention or not. Mm-hmm. Like, despite all that, if you threw all that out and you just look past him, let's say Theoden restored and having already gone through everything that he went through with Wormtongue, knowing that changes him as a person too. So
true.
That's a tough one but I think him as we see him several chapters ago, being in there running things, yeah, absolutely, but 100% different. I mean, he wouldn't get into the pettiness of sending his son to.
They both lost sons too. Isn't that amazing?
They did, and I think he would have listened to more of his counsel, and maybe even the counsel of his own son.
Or maybe I should phrase this slightly different. Let's say Rohan was on Mordor's front door instead of Gondor.
See, and that was what I was going to say. Is okay. I think the nature of
flip them.
The nature of where they are and what they've been doing for so long of Gondor versus Rohan, who they have their own conflicts, right? And they had. I mean, obviously, they clashed with Saruman, but the length of time that Gondor has been fighting this fight, and it due in part to because of some of their inability or unwillingness to drive the enemy totally away, right? I almost think it's the regions too.
Yeah,
like being in charge of Gondor, I think might be a more inherently stressful position than being in charge of Rohan. So I think I don't even know. I mean, I wonder. I don't know. Would it have been the exact same thing, just flip flopped? Would Denethor have made a better life in Rohan versus Gondor? Would he have? Did all of these decisions he made come from the stress of Mordor's on my front door? They're getting closer all the time. What do I have other than to go get this elvish weapon that we've all seen in a dream?
Yeah,
and use that because I mean, you think about when I'm really tired, when I'm really stressed, my judgments go way down.
Yeah,
way down, and I think about them being even just visually seeing that all the time, that threat that have to mess with your psyche, and that's why Faramir is so unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just because he doesn't waver, he doesn't give up hope, he doesn't stop fighting for what's good. He makes the best decisions all the time. I don't know. That's probably the hardest question I've been asked.
I think that needs to be almost like if we can turn that into a poll of some kind, that'd be amazing. I'm going to take an unpopular opinion though on this. I think it's going to be unpopular in that I think now that I've thought about it a little bit more, if you were to flip flop and just replace individuals and not whole kingdoms, and you were to put Theoden in at Minas Tirith in at Gondor, I think it would have fallen much sooner. And I think that because this is where you have to give Denethor a little bit of credit, is how crafty he is, how wise and how intelligent and how far-seeing he is. And so maybe it's sort of like he's actually held this together for a long time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and it's almost like, okay, if he didn't have any sons and he's just managing people, it's fine. But what happens to him is the loss of his son affects him. And then trying to fill that void and trying to he loves Faramir, and we get that, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's crazy how that personal connection affected him in a way, and he maybe did lose sight, or
even the choice, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, because I cannot remember if I'm right, but the decision for him to send Boromir instead of Faramir, correct?
Yeah,
that was his final call, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and so that also plays into that psyche of this was my choice. I actually sent him. I thought I was sending him to victory. I sent him to death. So his death was on my head. It's my fault. I'm left with this son that, he feels more like a wizard's son than my own. Mm-hmm. Dude, there's no.
And actually,
we're defending Denethor here. Like, this is crazy.
No, and that is what.
I mean,
I just want to say,
yeah,
I'm pretty good at podcasting, aren't I?
Oh, absolutely.
I get you to think about
dude,
that.
This is amazing.
I love this.
It's amazing.
Dude.
No, it really.
You're good book club members, which you are too. I mean, this is just.
It's got us jazzed because we haven't even actually looked at. We haven't read a daggone thing from the chapter because.
Why not? We're under siege, man.
We're under siege, and it's. I think it's cool because we're still really digging into it and having a rich conversation. Yeah. So, because one more point here with that, Faramir kind of says, Denethor says that don't bring that up about Boromir. Don't rub that in my face. I'm already.
The wound's fresh, right?
Yeah, regretting that, and I've mourned about that. So yeah, it's totally affected him, and in a big way.
Great, dude.
But yeah, let's do this. Let's go through a couple of these. Let's actually get into some of the chapter here, and I'm not gonna take us through as tediously as I typically do, But I think because I think we've covered the breakfast and the Pippin and
more about breakfast.
Back to breakfast. Well, you can't face this evil.
What percent was the milk?
Wow, probably 4.
We're thinking 1%. Skim 1% or skim.
4% is what I'm thinking.
Give me that whole milk, baby.
I know they said it was kind of thin and watery, but I don't know.
There's another poll. Do you like
times.
whole milk or too?
Yeah.
No.
How do you prefer your milk?
Do you like it fresh off the cow's teat?
All those poor farmers too, down in the fields.
Right. Yeah.
Just destroyed.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh my gosh. And okay, so sorry, I know this is way on, but talking about we'll get there, but Sauron's greatest weapons were starvation, right?
Yeah.
And then also even more than that was the dread.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, those are different. The tools, of warfare.
I think of I don't know. I think of John Dorsey. He's always saying, for any Cleveland Browns fans out there,
starve him out.
just saying, don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Wow.
And I think about all the wise people who say, don't be afraid. How many times does Jesus say, do not be afraid?
Yep.
All the time.
Yeah.
Dread. Don't be afraid. If you're afraid, you lost. You already lost.
Yeah, and
fear is what does Yoda say? Fear becomes. Doesn't he say something?
Yeah,
like
he
that?
says. What's he say, Vogel? He says
Fear becomes
angrily is hate.
Anger is hate.
Hate.
Oh,
is,
that's not even suffering. Okay, never mind. But
path to the dark
yeah,
side.
right.
Well, I mean,
never mind.
No, fear's in there somewhere. I can't.
Screw that. Yeah.
Why are you taking me out of different?
Sorry. We all have fear. I mean, we could probably talk about average everyday fears that we all have. Like fatherhood and uncertainty and our jobs,
horizontal studs,
and where I'm going to find them at. But in the end, if you let fear rule you, that's when you've truly lost.
Yeah.
So
one thing, and I just feel like we ought to bounce around and pull some of our favorite parts. So you guys go through and kind of maybe take us to where you want. Maybe we'll try to do it chronologically. But something you mentioned about fear. Remember the men in as the fire is coming in and the fire is out of control. And we had men who stayed in their post. Now maybe they couldn't retreat back to the second level, but they were there. They didn't lose. They didn't run. Mm-hmm. So it's great. There were still some that were able to face their fears and manned their station and stuff. And so you think about just those people and being clumped up, knowing that they had a chance to run. They had a chance to turn, but they stayed their ground, and they stayed and they kept fighting and defending the city, and they will probably die there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So one other quick thought I had on here, just first page. So we're looking first page after breakfast. So Pippin goes before Denethor effectively to see what he's going to be doing. I thought, sir, that you would tell me my duties. I will, when I learn what you are fit for, but that I shall learn soonest maybe if I keep you beside me. The esquire of my chamber has begged leave to go to the outer garrison. Really? So you shall take his place for a while. You shall wait on me, bear errands, and talk to me. If war and counsel leave me any leisure. And he said, can you sing? So first and foremost, I read that and I said, did his usual squire actually request leave to go to the wall?
Yeah.
Or was Denethor again attempting to be clever here to keep Pippin close to him to try and learn potentially more? Because I mean, as we know from previous chapters, when he spoke to him, he was trying to claw out more information, and Denethor knows that Pippin is very close to Gandalf.
Yep.
So could this have been another way to try and maneuver and structure something so that he could have that quote potential power over Gandalf or learn more information?
That's a small detail, but I think you're right. I think it's actually really right. I mean, it seems intentional.
Oh yeah,
a guy who's this smart and who's intelligent and moving pieces that's
He's a
piece.
chess
That's
player. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
What's the difference? I mean, I've got this guy can stand and wait on me, or the other guy. I mean, what's I get more out of Pippin being there. So,
Yes.
But yeah, okay. Anyway, where else would you guys like to go next year? You want to start back, kind of comb through some of this beginning piece? So let me see.
Yes. Gosh.
Is there anything you have underlined or highlighted that you wanted to kind of pull
Well,
out?
I found something further on with.
Take me there.
Well, it's when Faramir comes back.
That's one of my favorite parts. So
Okay, and they're having all. They sit down and they eat. Pippin can't even sit. Right, he's stood behind the chair of Denethor and felt his weariness little. So eagerly did he listen to all that was said. We just have these great conversations here.
Is this where Faramir is talking to Denethor?
Was. Yes. Oh my gosh, I just had it. Anyway, there's as they go on later, Faramir and Denethor talk, and then Gandalf comes in, and it was just a line that stood out to me. And it's when they're kind of having this showdown, right? Their looks even are burning
is it
each
like
other
the laser
up.
kind of like
they're laser focus, and it's it seems like Denethor just tries to push Gandalf to say the wrong thing too, right? He tries to get him to lose favor with Faramir. I think he tries to get him to seem weak to Pippin. I think he sees Gandalf as someone who's trying to throw him out of his own position to replace him with Aragorn, right? And so he's so threatened by Gandalf, even his presence. But it was this line hit me. I got a heart. I got a whoa. I underlined it because I don't think necessarily of this, and I don't think of Gandalf thinking of this. You think, as is your wont, my lord, of Gondor only, said Gandalf. Yet there are other men and other lives, and we were just talking about that, right? Regular soldiers who were defending the first level probably going to die. What kept them there?
Right.
Why did they continue to fight? Why did they not run? Yet there are other men and other lives, right? Women, children, old, young, and time still to be. And for me, I pity even his slaves.
Yes.
Talking about,
I remember that.
About even the enemies, right?
Yep.
Even those that have been tricked into fighting.
Yes. Who have been brought
Sauron.
under. Yeah.
Yes.
Remember during the council, they had sent riders to Dane. They had sent riders to the dwarves and to different other kingdoms.
Yeah.
Right? And they knew that they were being persuaded.
And yes.
And there were consequences if they didn't join up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're being pressured. And you know who it made me think of too is it made me think of Faramir looking at that soldier, right?
Yeah.
That they had killed an Ithilien and saying, I wonder what lies and threats brought him from his home. I wonder what he was told. Was he fighting because he truly believed in this, or was it because he felt no? And did he think he was really on the right side or not?
Yeah,
he looked at his enemy and he found pity on him. And I'm like, there's another link between the wizard and Faramir, right?
But then directly after that, so Denethor's comeback line here, and where will other men look for help if Gondor falls?
Yeah.
So again, it always harkens back to the fact that Gondor has been here, protecting the realm from Mordor for so long.
Yeah,
where will they go if Gondor falls? So again, there's always an attempt to get back, try and one up.
Yeah. There's a self-importance there too, isn't there?
Intellectually, right now, they're actually extremely well matched.
Yeah,
They both have their reasons from their own perspectives.
counter-move.
It's all about perspective here.
Yep.
Gandalf thinks more macro, where Denethor's thinking more micro.
I love that. That's a great point. I have 2 points I want to make. So one is going to take us back. You were talking about Faramir. I'm going to take us back to when Faramir first shows up and the excitement that happens. But 2, the idea that Gondor is the place that we have to turn to. We always have. It's a flaw. It's a flaw.
Yeah,
actually,
it is. Yes,
on,
it is.
on our side to think that this is the only place. It's almost like remember when the writers show up to.
It's also a flaw for Denethor to believe that too.
Well, that's the thing.
Because you're just about to say, who shows up to save the day?
Well, and
we know in
right now he's also smart enough to know that they need aid. But the way he directed aid to come to him was to come early and to get behind my walls.
Yeah,
just like
not tending to your own.
Right. No.
Right.
No. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Don't worry about your own people. Just get here by this day because we'll be in ruins.
Gondor has to be preserved.
Right. If not,
so that if it falls, then everyone else is falling.
Yeah.
That's not the way it should be. It's sort of like again, we need aid because we need aid.
Yeah.
That's plain and simple.
Yeah.
Whatever you can provide and whatever, because this is the battle that's taking place. And yeah, we have a great force and we have a great strategy, but you're almost putting all of your eggs in one basket. I mean, the enemy knows this is where you have to strike.
Yeah.
Win the battle here, and it's over.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a flaw. Now, I want to go back real quick just because to Faramir, and one thing that Baragon does that I think is amazing. So this is towards the beginning a little bit. It's a little before what you were reading there, but he starts. They see. This is the part that I said that really excited me. It's one of my favorite parts. Baragon is talking about, like, the fell beast had been there. They'd heard the cry, right? But he says, they have come. Take courage and look. There are fell things below, right? But they start to see that Faramir, and remember when they're looking, he and Pippin are looking, and they see sort of like black specks underneath these winged beast, and they start to realize that they're riding into the city, and he starts to kind of talk about Faramir, Lord Faramir. It is his call, brave heart. But how can he win? How can he win to the gate if these foul hell hawks have other weapons than fear? But look, they hold on. They will make the gate. No, it's almost like this commentary, this play-by-play of like these two guys who are up there, and the best part is when Pippin sees a white rider strike out, and I was so in the moment. I was just like, he's like, Gandalf. He always turned. There he is. Yeah, there he is. Go on, White Rider. Go on, get him. And so he's like so pumped, and you could see, almost imagine if the whole city were reacting that way, you could almost hear a cry, from the city, almost like a cheer, as in like it reminds me of like honestly like the Colosseum, like the gladiators, like they're riding out. You're watching this arena, and you're watching this, and they're so, and then outrides Gandalf to meet. It's just such a cool scene, and they're riding to give information, to give intelligence. He took a small force and some of his trusted men and rode on ahead, and they left a garrison right behind, but he needs to get here, get this information. He's met with Frodo. It's such a huge moment, and he has to get back, and Gandalf realizes it. It's amazing too that like Pippin's as high up as he is, and like right before that, Gandalf was just up there having, was just up there talking, and all of a sudden now he's down at the gate. He's flying out.
Thanks to Shadowfax.
On Shadowfax. So to me, that was one of my favorite things, because it's the indirect characterization is what it is of Faramir. Again, we've already seen him directly, but now we're seeing a whole city, and we're seeing Pippin and these other members, Baragon, talk about their captain, and it's kind of cool to think about. We have a dark captain who will show up later, and to have this captain here, and just how cool he is, and how much they rely on him. Yeah. So, okay, all right. Let's see here. Where should we move on next here?
Isn't it cool too? I guess like just how, think about from the point of view of an author, that he chose to tell this scene from this perspective too, like, and how it's more powerful because we're seeing it from this like nest view of these two characters, who Baragon, who has this love and deep appreciation for Faramir, and Pippin, who, Gandalf is his hero, right? We could have been down on the field riding with Gandalf. That's where all the action is. Yeah. Right? Yes. But instead, Tolkien's like, nah, it's going to be more powerful if I show it through the eyes of the people who love these two most, who have this grand view of this scene taking place and can commentate on it.
Yep. Yeah,
you get sucked in, and I think what he does is he makes you feel like you're in the city watching it yourself.
Yes, he did,
and you feel that cry coming out of your chest too, like "Go on, Gandalf! Yeah, Gandalf!" Right, and you're cheering for Faramir, right? I mean, you're there, dude.
They're surprised. Yeah. They're surprised. Yeah. We've lost.
Well, I think the same way when I watch that scene in the film, and you watch that, it's almost. I mean, it's genius. They use that. It's like a camera mounted on a car, and they're driving behind Gandalf after it's not even the scene where the beam shoots out, but it's after the fell beasts fly off and he shoots that beam out, and then he lowers his staff and he joins and he rides right with them, and comes into the city with them. That you had that point of view right behind, where you don't hear Gandalf talking. There's no tight shots. No, it's just this. You're a spectator to something unbelievable.
It was a very like real world.
It felt like a documentary, right?
It didn't feel like it was over sensationalizing a moment. It was like he's falling back into formation. In a very real way.
And I get that same feeling from that scene right there.
Mm-hmm. Can I go now?
Absolutely. What do you got?
Jump in there, son.
just to crash things back down to earth again after that brilliant display. Now, so here's a part where Pippin and Gandalf have a little bit of a conversation. Tell me, is there any hope for Frodo? I mean, or at least mostly for Frodo. And then this was kind of the line. I believe this was in the movie. Mm-hmm. There never was much hope, just a fool's hope. And as I've been told, and then when I heard of Cirith Ungol, yeah, and he kind of breaks off here, and he doesn't really want to speak of it, almost like it's like a curse, you know, and to speak it would give life to a fear in his own heart. Yeah, and you know, just kind of to, you know, pop past a little bit of this. Pippin's but what? Yeah. Only one but will I allow tonight.
Right.
Only I could bring that up. And then Pippin brings up Gollum. How on earth could they be going about with him, even following him? And I could see that Faramir did not like the place he was taking them to any more than you do. What is wrong? And then Gandalf's at this point, I can't answer that now.
Right.
Yet my heart guessed that Frodo and Gollum would meet before the end, which he's kind of already made that known.
Yep.
For good or for evil. But of Cirith Ungol I will not speak tonight. Treachery, I fear. Treachery of that miserable creature. But so it must be, let us remember, that a traitor may betray himself and do good that he does not intend.
Great line.
It can be so sometimes. Good night.
Yeah, I think that's a huge point, because it's actually one of those times where Gandalf and all these men who can see and anticipate and kind of maybe guess as to which thing, because he's really questioning right before that Faramir as to how many days, how many leagues away were they, where did they go? Yeah, the timing, very important, very important. And actually, we get a reference. At the end of one of these nights or days, when we get the reference to the rays of sun
on the king's fallen head,
that Frodo sees. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, he feels like something has happened here that he didn't expect. And actually, it's funny because I think Frodo and Sam wonder. I wonder, maybe it was Sam who says, like, I wonder if Gandalf would have even have taken us this way.
Yeah,
and you're like, right. Well, clearly. You know what I'm saying? Because do you remember that? Like, that's the thing. He wonders whether what Gandalf would have done had he have been here.
Yeah.
Not this.
No.
He didn't see this coming.
No.
And I think that's the thing that's interesting about Gollum. He's this wild card. He's something that we can't anticipate. But that line, this treachery may actually in and of itself be a good thing. It does some good. And it'll bring Frodo and Sam closer. It also keeps them on their guard. And
it takes them on a way that no one expects. The enemy included.
They didn't expect it coming this way. It was very, not very guard. I mean, look at how close. So the Witch King, remember when he marched out of there, passed right by.
They even sensed it for a minute. Remember that?
They were right
where he
there.
Paused. Yeah.
The same host that we see. Went right before Frodo and Sam.
Yep.
And you would just not expect this to send them directly into the heart of all of that. And I think that's what Denethor keeps calling a fool's errand, that there isn't much hope in it. It's the last thing you would expect.
As Billy Boyd says in the movies, the closer we are to danger, the further we are from harm, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, okay. All right. So let's move on from there a little bit. This is good, guys. This is good. I'm loving how we're moving.
So many, just so many moments, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So we get after that shortly. Don't we have the council where they kind of discuss back and forth? They gave Faramir his rest. He was kind of he swaned, right? He kind of like almost was like
passing out
on his dad there.
Yeah, that was a bit of a difference from the movie. Basically, the movie is like he's straight out. It just seems like he goes straight back out, armors up, gets out of there. But here he's like, we'll take some rest.
Yeah, again, more time, right? The timing is all
And this is where Imrad Hill kind of like talks about wanting to defend other places, correct? That's a small council that they have is to decide what to do, where to send Faramir or some great captain. That's kind of the funny thing, too. They keep talking about needing a great man or a great captain to kind of go reinforce these different places and stuff, and as we mentioned. So, when this is where
Carrie Andros is brought up, and
that's something. So, again, these little mentions. Have we ever heard that place mentioned before now?
I don't believe so.
No, and so to me, you and I'm not going to do this episode, but I would love to go look that up on a map. I'd love to go see what point are we talking about here.
Towards Lebanon as well. Or they're talking about where they would cross, right?
Yeah.
They talk about the only likely place that they would cross would be Osgiliath because of the marshes to the north and the rivers too wide to the south. And it is amazing how you're bringing up, Dave, how it's like in the movie it seems so what's the word for one person making the decision?
One-sided.
Yeah, it's just very like there's no discussion. I'm your daddy. This is what we're going to go do. And here there's more power to it because Faramir's not just feeling pressure from his dad. He's seeing like this whole conversation from a whole council of leaders. And that's even more pressure. He's like, okay, well, it's like, I guess this is on me. And, I don't know.
But, okay. Here's the thing, though. They're debating about where they will cross. And, okay, this is maybe a point for Denethor. Okay? I think what it is that these other captains, and especially Faramir, know the host that is coming is unstoppable. But they need to be slowed. And right now they're not really saying that. Yeah. Although I think Denethor knows it.
Yeah.
I think he knows it. And I think...
Do you think they have any idea how big the force is, though?
I don't think they do.
I don't think so
I think
either.
Faramir will be the only one who's been tested and who's been out there really...
deepest out there,
yes, and has really seen it. Now, I think Denethor, though, does show his smarts here because they gave quite a heavy blow to the enemy when Faramir goes to make this reinforcement. Mm-hmm. And actually, the retreat that... when we see them retreat and we see them kind of swoop in behind and, Faramir kind of takes the arrow, like it's actually a big moment. I mean, it is it was a strategy that they baited them into this. I don't know that it's really said explicitly here, but I wonder what Denethor thought, if he thought that far ahead.
Yeah, I don't remember where it was. There was something in here about like, I want to say it was Gandalf who was, questioning about like, not necessarily where they're like potentially where the force is going or where the force is going to be split in other directions or are they all coming in one?
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly.
You're right. There was a spot where they said that the forces had split.
Yeah, so they don't even know. Again, that just reinforces what you were saying. They don't really know how big. They don't really know exactly where they're coming from.
The other entry point, all that stuff. Yeah. Right, and so it's sort of like they do know that this will be a likely. I mean, Denethor makes the case that this is a likely entry point, and we know that they kind of crawl across in rafts, and it's a big deal. Yeah. So he really, I mean, right there.
And
so
the situation as Gilead was worse than they thought too.
Yes,
they think it's better off than it really is.
Right, and that's why. So again, to Denethor, it's sort of like. Maybe that, in his defense, maybe he thought, right. That's something we can go defend, and we're not going to just. Really, he's saying with Pelennor too. We're not going to. It's not going to be a place where an area that will be unfought. That's one of the words that was used there, like unfought, as in we're not going to fight there. So, and that's where he kind of questions: do we have a captain who's able to kind of do that? And this is the part where everyone else is silent. And then they were all silent, but at length Faramir said, "I do not oppose your will, sire. Since you are robbed of Boromir, I will go and do what I can in his stead, if you command it." And then he says, "I do." Then farewell.
Almost sending another son to his death.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's
like, jeez, dude,
it's crazy. And Gandalf tries to persuade him not to go and stuff, but he does. He gets enough men, and the big question, the reoccurring theme in this is will Theoden come? Will Rohan come? Yeah. Is someone else going to ride in? Because remember, when Imradil comes in, there's really not. He doesn't bring a lot of people with him.
Yeah.
Remember that? There's
when all those captains come in,
they thought there would be more, and
20,
they're just not.
30.
They're just not.
There was also mentioned somewhere along here too that they were starting to identify possible points where Theoden and his force could come in. And I said, well, they can't come in here because they're holding this pass. They can't come in here. So
yeah, true.
They're almost of the assumption that even if they are coming, they can't get here.
Yeah.
In time. They can't get in where we need them.
Right.
Oh, right. Yes, they are. They are under that assumption. Yes, they are.
But then also they talk about later too how, or I guess it's Tolkien as an author, I think, when he's describing the forces of Sauron, how they have no cavalrymen. And then we see that kind of opening there where we're like, okay, well, we know there's a bunch of riders coming, and that is a huge trump card to fight on a horseback versus, being an infantryman.
Yeah, that was part of Gandalf and Denethor, because he had said, one of our biggest things, I can't talk.
I feel you.
Ride the horses out, put your men on horseback, basically cow, because they won't have that. It's like, but we also don't have that many horses.
Yeah, right. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, being mounted, and what a big deal.
And just so that knowing the fact that they are coming, it opens your mind. You're like, okay, well, maybe. You're reading this for the first time. You're like, even though it's impossible, maybe they'll find a way. That's a lot of horses. A lot of horses, baby. Come on.
Right.
Please, God, please come through.
Don't
you wish you could go back to the first time, man?
Yeah,
that
because
first high,
I actually think, you're kind of you're led to not really believe in Denethor, but even now in rereading, I'm kind of like, man, I hope he could pull something out.
Yeah. Peter Jackson talks about, he was like, if he could have one thing, he would love to be put under hypnosis to where he could forget everything about Lord of the Rings and watch the movies.
Oh yeah, wow!
And be able to experience them that way, because you think about how we as fans of the book, we read it over and over and over again. We dissect it. We look for minutia stuff or meaning that may or may not even be there. And how he did the same thing with the films. He pieced it together. He broke it apart, put it back together a million times.
Yeah.
And how he was like, I wish I could go back and watch the movies and see if I'd like them.
If you guys had, just one part, one scene that you could forget and then watch again for the first time, I know what mine would be, and that's Theoden's speech before they start riding.
Yeah.
That still gives me goosebumps whenever I watch it now.
I have mine. You have yours?
I have mine, but now that I've heard Dave's, I think I would have gone with that.
Going down.
But
mine is that last. If I had to do one moment, it would be Aragorn's fight with Lurtz. It's that last 30 minutes of the Fellowship, because I'll tell you why. Because I still watch it, and I still cry, and I still get goosebumps, and I still go, "This is the best cinema that's ever been put together."
So the first time you're just blown out.
Dude, the way that film ended, I was like, "This." At first, I didn't know there were more, and I was like, "This has to be continued, right? There has to be."
Yeah.
And then when my uncle told me there were books, I was like, "All right, yeah." I'm done. I'm done. This is the rest of my life. I will love this forever. And just that scene between Aragorn and Boromir.
Yeah.
Come on, the healing of the North and the South,
Right. We're lucky, man. We're lucky to have seen the films. We're blessed.
Crazy.
We are
I'll
so
never
blessed.
forget. I'll never forget it.
For me, real quickly, it would be the Balrog. Gandalf.
I was gonna say Gandalf falling on the bridge.
Yeah, that would have that. I'm like,
I remember looking over my dad. My dad was in tears. I remember that scene.
Yeah,
and he didn't know the stories either. He was like, "Oh my god!" He was like, "What, Gandalf?" And he was just,
it's kind of like, no way.
There's no way.
There's no way. Yeah.
And one other parallel, because you've both kind of said this a little bit here too. So, in society,
we need to have David start writing Strawberries with Cream, because he just knocked two out.
I know he did.
I've done YouTube and I've done podcasting. I just, some of these questions just kind of come to me because of experience that I've had.
That's why we love having people.
He's not
on
just a
to talk
dabbler.
about.
He's not just a dabbler.
But so in society, we have an issue with men crying, with men expressing feeling.
Yeah.
And in this chapter, there's actually a lot of talk about that. Baragon when Faramir, help Faramir, and he's like almost holding back tears because he loves his captain so much. And you talk about your dad in that scene and getting that emotional attachment, and me watching Theoden ride back and forth and literally, Dad, the sun is rising. And it elicits an emotional response. And, as men, and as we're all men, last time I checked, that is.
When did you check? That's what.
About 30 minutes ago, actually. But we're almost told, don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But sometimes that's very healthy, and especially in a scenario like this, when you're literally facing down death, do you think you're going to be worried about shedding a tear?
Yeah, no. That is one of the reasons I would love to have a son. Probably the only at this point, because I love having girls so much.
Yeah.
But I would want him to teach that. I would want to teach him, like as my dad did me. It's all right to cry. It's to be in touch with your emotions as a man, woman, whatever, as a human being. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I mean, dude, feeling deeply allows you to do everything else.
And it's a little bit off the chapter, but like in the beginning when the rest of the hobbits were characterizing Frodo, he's a little odd even for them.
Yeah.
And the hobbits are actually, pretty stuffy in their own way.
Yeah, they are.
When Frodo was, he could be a little bit more emotional. He could be a little bit flamboyant and so forth in certain ways.
A little elvish, little fairy blood in him.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, well, he's celebrating, Bilbo's birthday all this time when they all say he's dead. It's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And like people like that can oftentimes be extremely uplifting. When you just think about Guy X over here, who he's a big tough guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't always inspire much.
Right.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say this since we're there. We've deviated. Okay.
Deviation.
I love that you bring this up because we actually have a lot of characters, men and women in this who do express that kind of emotion and who feel like there's like an openness, a vulnerability at times, and they share these experiences with each other. I often am looked at kind of funny, friends. I am actually. I kid you not. Like I
not
don't,
just from me either.
Not just from Lane. It's sort of like I think people think that like I'm a sensitive guy, and I really don't care to say that. I don't mind telling people that like it is what it is. Like,
I think we've definitely we've definitely shed our tears.
We have
right here
on the podcast.
You know what I mean?
And actually a part of we've never said this, but I'm going to say it now. I hope that there are some young men listening out there.
Yeah.
And you, I mean, like, it's okay to be that way. It's also okay to be the other way, but it's like, like it just, I don't know. I feel like there's not just a way in which you need to act and behave.
Yeah.
I guess it's like, or like all guys need to be kind of like this tough, turned up, kind of individual. Anyways, I don't know. Last thing I'll say too is my dad has never explicitly told me that it's okay to kind of be like he's not directly
showing you, right?
He's
showing
me.
You. Yeah.
Every
Same
weekend,
here.
every day, like it just he being who he is. I've just always known.
Yeah.
That it's okay because of the life that he lives. So, anyways, way to take us down
I know, I love it, dude. I love it because I think the natural tendency too, as you get older, you get hardened and you try to act like you don't care or stuff doesn't bother you, or you're just like you try to hold. I find myself trying to hold back tears quite often. I think, why am I doing that? Like, why do I find that?
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
well, I'm glad you had those experiences, but I didn't with my dad.
Yeah,
we're not exactly as close in that respect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, Lord of the Rings is a love story.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story of good and evil. And it's a story that, kind of shows you that even if you're different, you can contribute in a major way and not have that difference questioned because it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
So,
well, look at this. Look at the character, and as you said, if you don't have someone in your life who could show you that, it's interesting that this is why this is so precious, this story, to so many people because of the characters we have. But look at what Faramir did several chapters ago. We saw who he was, and we saw the actions that he takes. He's almost portrayed as like when you stack him up against Boromir, he's not the gruff, tough leading. I don't know. There's something I don't know how to explain it or how to articulate it.
Cross-legged with the Hobbit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just
upon first meeting.
He's different, and we love him for it.
Yeah.
And then when we get here, we see his father chastise him for it, almost essentially.
Well, I mean, it's funny because it's
like
not really
exactly what he was doing.
It's not really even a deviation. It's totally about what's going on with this father and son, right? I mean, Yeah. One is being criticized for being like a wizard, right? A wizard's pupil, different, strange, not how men of Gondor are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right, and he's influencing him to make decisions, right? And I almost think I don't know. In the movie, it's like Faramir's just kind of, he seems more resigned in this moment. He's like, I will go and do this if this is your will. You know what I mean? But in the book here, he almost kind of puts it back on him.
Yep.
He's almost like, if this is your will. I almost see it more as this, this challenge of strength. Not a challenge of strength, but like, I don't want to go. I know that you miss Boromir. And you think Boromir in this situation would be a stronger help to the city, right?
Yep.
But I'll go for him if you want me to.
And the other thing is, you're the steward.
Right.
And so...
Right. And that's the other difference between these two, all right? Oh, my God. We've got him sitting up, watching all this, sending people out. And you've got Theoden, who's leading his army on horseback.
There you go.
Now,
and there's a mention about this, too, where he says, I could go... Doesn't he say something about...
He does have his...
I wear my
armor.
battle gear to bed, is what he's saying pretty much. Yeah. I eat Wheaties for breakfast, right? I can go out there if I want to.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, where are you?
Right.
Where are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah.
I got to go check to see if I'm on.
Okay.
Yeah, but...
go check it out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad you brought that up, though, man. Like, I think that's actually really... it's important. It's something that's almost like we were beating around the bush the whole time about how different Faramir and Boromir are, the relationship with their father, and then that kind of just lands and hits home.
Yeah, but I mean, in their own ways, they're both good men. They're both strong leaders. They just sort of different experience.
Right. So there's nothing wrong with either one really. It's just that like it's the acceptance and being okay with both, if you will. So. Yeah. Now, to move us on here just a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit about the news that kind of comes in here. So a man wrote in haste from the Fords, saying that a host had issued from Minas Morgul and was already drawing nigh into Osgiliath. And it had been joined by regiments from the south, Haradrim, Cruel and Tall. And so they talk about that they've learned that the Black Captain leads them once again.
Yeah.
And fear of him has passed before him over the river. So it's almost like just the knowledge that the Black Captain is leading the host, as I think it was Lane or it might have been you who said earlier that fear was that other tool, right? Yeah. You had talked about that.
Right.
And so that really does strike a chord here. It's a big deal. You all checked out? Did everything check out?
I had to zip. Just now. Sorry about that. Fly was down.
All right.
Was that a little like ASMR? You hold it up.
What identifier?
I think
you
it
got
picked
some
up
of
on
your
the microphone.
You got some of your beard scratching there. It's like, hello and welcome to Lane's ASMR.
Good gravy.
Here's my nice Viking beard. Can you hear me scratching it?
Oh gosh.
Picking up.
Shaminy. Okay.
Straighten us out, Ez.
Here we go. Straighten you out.
So the wizard's compass out.
The black compass, the black compass, not the black compass. The Black Captain.
I think that's in Black Pearl, isn't it?
It's somewhere.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
But anyways, he shows up. Big deal. The next day,
yes.
Though the darkness had reached its fullness and had grown, no deeper, it weighed heavier on men's hearts, and a great dread was on them. So this ill news also just doesn't help.
Yeah.
The passage of Anduin was won by the enemy. Faramir was retreating to the wall, and they're rallying some men there at the causeway, and he's trying to kind of hold this force back. Mm-hmm. But he's outnumbered 10 to 1. He is, tenfold out.
Yeah.
It's insane that he does what he actually. This host that comes back almost seems a little bit larger than what we see in the movies, right? It seems like a larger host.
I almost feel like
really
you can't see the end of it.
Yeah.
Can't see the end of it.
I was even talking about Faramir's.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, but you're right. Yeah, you can't see the end of that host, but I think Faramir was able to save more of that garrison than we realized.
Sure.
A little bit more, and it was worth them coming and trying to cover his retreat as he comes back. Let's see here. If he wins back at all across the Pelennor, his enemies will be on his heels, said the messenger. So they're getting these updates. They have paid dear for the crossing, but less dearly than we had hoped. So they had paid dear. And that's where I kind of said that, like, all right, maybe Denethor, give him some props.
Yeah.
Okay. And Gandalf kind of says, he's talking, he says, what's he say? Oh, they're talking about the Black Captain again. So the plan has been well laid. It is now seen that in secret they have long been building floats and barges in great numbers in East Osgiliath. They swarmed across like beetles, but it is the Black Captain that defeats us. Few will stand and abide even the rumor of his coming. His own folk quail at him, and they would slay themselves at his bidding. Let me read that again. His own folk quail at him, and they would slay themselves at his bidding. And then Gandalf says, then I am needed there more than here, said Gandalf, and rode off at once. And all that night, Pippin alone and sleepless stood upon the wall and gazed eastward. Very unlike a hobbit to do that. First of all, So this is just. I mean, this captain. We're first it's described just as the Black Captain, and then later on we get a couple more details about who exactly this is, and we're like, oh yeah, okay. Start to put everything together.
You know how like in Game of Thrones they have these super long titles. Gandalf kind of gives him his entire title here too. Yet now, under the Lord of Barad-dûr, the most fell of all his captains is already master of your outer walls. King of Angmar, long ago, sorcerer, ring-wraith, Lord of the Nazgul, a spear of terror in the hand of Sauron, shadow of despair.
That's the big title. That's good. I'm glad you found. Yeah.
I love too how all these these big like hero characters, they have all these names, right? You think about Aragorn, how many names does he have? Right? I think about Gandalf. How many names does he have? It's just funny how if you're around long enough and you're powerful enough, and you get around, you get a bunch of different names. You know,
absolutely. Yeah,
too big and too epic to describe in just one.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Now this is what I think was interesting. This is where kind of Denethor, right after that long title, says that Gandalf is let's see. What's he say? That
accuses him of being overmatched.
Overmatched. There it is. Yeah. For myself, I have long known who is the chief captain of the host of the Dark Tower. So he's got again back to a battle of wits. I've already knew this is not anything new to me. Let's see. Nay, I came rather to guard the hurt men. So he's wondering why Gandalf is here and not, what's going on. He's like, I came back to kind of heal these men and to help here.
How about that line too, dude, where Pippin, when he says that, are you overmatched, and Pippin trembles, fearing that Gandalf would be stung to sudden wrath, but his fear was needless, and how Gandalf answers softly, it might be so.
Yeah.
It might be so.
It might be overmatched.
It might be so. Yeah, but our trial of strength has not yet come. And if words spoken of old be true, not by the hand of man shall he fall. And hidden from the wise is the doom that awaits him. Now, that's pretty big. I mean, I actually think that's different from the movie Big Time, and just that, like, if words spoken of old be true, that would be prophecy.
Yeah.
Right? It's prophesied. And so we kind of get that, but it really hammers home here that it's not Gandalf couldn't take him, but it's just that it was prophesied that someone else would defeat him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it also shows how humble Gandalf can be.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, he could beat me.
Sure.
Yes. I mean, might not be able to, but I mean, come on, Gandalf.
Yeah.
But it is it's that, and we talked about this way back with he and Saruman. It's that humility that separates him from, that makes him the real White Wizard, right? The other one was broken by hubris, maybe out of fear, maybe just because he thought he was the bee's knees, right? Saruman himself thought he could do no wrong. He thought of himself as wise, and he was wise, but Gandalf has always had that humility. He hangs out with hobbits,
and that sets them apart,
And
makes
who
them different.
wouldn't want to just hang out with hobbits?
Saruman.
Have some good food, a
Come on,
beer in the
I'm
throat, a
with you,
song
bro.
afterwards. Come
That's
on,
right.
man.
Get that beer in the throat.
Yeah. Okay, so they go back and forth about news and things that had happened and all this stuff, and he says that Gandalf is, maybe delights in bearing ill
Bad
news
news,
and things
yeah.
like that. So he's kind of
Ill news is an ill guest.
yeah, kind of getting on there. Now this next bit, the enemy, men murmured. The dike is down. Here they come, pouring through the breaches, and they carry torches, it seems. Where are our own folk? It drew now to evening by the hour, and the light was so dim that even far-sighted men from the citadel could discern little clearly upon the fields, save only the burning that ever multiplied, and the lines of fire that grew in length and speed. At last, less than a mile from the city, a more ordered mass of men came into view, marching, not running, still holding together. The watchers held their breath. Faramir must be there, they said. He can govern man and beast. He will make it yet. So they start to see their own the retreat, which is it's an ordered retreat, and they see it kind of falling back. Now, this is the part we're going to spend just a little bit of time on here because I think it's worth it. Let's see. The retreat became a rout. Already, more breaking away, flying wild, witless here and there, flinging away their weapons, crying out in fear, falling to the ground. And then a trumpet rang from the citadel, and Denethor at last released the sortie, drawn up within the shadows of the gate. So they talked about that earlier. We kind of bypassed that, which you said, the mounted horses. Maybe you did say it. I forgot. So yeah, the sounding of that horn right there, then they rush out here. And this is where we get the saving, really, of Faramir.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, what do they cry there?
Amroth for Gondor.
And Amroth for Faramir.
Yeah, to Faramir. Yep. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah. As the Swan Knights, right, of Dol Amroth, with their prince and his blue banner at their head. I thought that was pretty a cool description.
Yeah,
thinking about those knights and just thinking about just even in their image, that how they would inspire. We talked earlier. It was mentioned that Gandalf, when he walked by men, and how he inspired them and how he moved them. And actually, that's coming up. That's coming up.
Yeah.
When Gandalf kind of takes control.
On the battlements. Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. So it was a cool part here. We know that Faramir is actually brought back in by Prince Imradil, right? And so he gets pierced with an arrow, doesn't he? And he's got the poison. He's got that Nazgul kind of poison in him, right? And so it says that if it weren't for the prince, that he would have been kind of trampled. He would have been sliced up, really.
Yeah, they said they hewed even like dead men.
Yeah.
They would just, anyone in their path, alive or dead, they would just continue to cut up and destroy. No honor, basically, right? No honor, no respect for the dead, even.
Yeah.
And if he would have been left for dead, he would have been dead. Yeah.
You remember earlier something that's really interesting. And I kind of forgot to mention this, but like as the men were coming in. There was a point, I can't remember where it was, that Faramir was actually guarding everyone as they got into the city, and he was the last one in, type of thing. So I just imagine him, even at that host, being at the forefront of it, still fighting. He wasn't. They had
as it started to break up.
Yeah. I mean, the prince had to ride deep into the heart of that to find Faramir and to.
Can you imagine
what I'm saying?
Can you? Jeezy cow, dude.
Yeah, it's just wild to think. What he had to go to. But anyways, he brings him back to the White Tower, right? And this is where kind of Denethor just sort of loses it, right? He sits beside him without speaking.
Yeah.
His face had been more gray, more death-like than his son's. And there's a good line. More death-like than his sons. So, who he believed was dying or was dead.
And that line, is it before or after that? Brought Faramir to the White Tower. And it talks about where Denethor was, right? But Denethor rose and looked on the face of his son, was silent, which you just said. But he himself went up alone into the secret room under the summit of the tower. Many who looked up thither at that time saw a pale light that gleamed and flickered from the narrow windows for a while, and then flashed and went out. Yeah, descends and is like totally dismayed.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Now I can't remember looking ahead. Are we ever told directly that is a Palantir? Is it left up to
I think it's
us?
in
chapter.
What's that?
Not in this chapter.
But in future chapters,
I
is
think
it
it's
confirmed?
actually in one of the histories or something.
Because I can't totally remember.
I don't think it's in future chapters.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually think it's in one of the. I could be wrong.
But it's kind of left up to us.
It's definitely in the
it's-
gateway,
it's-
and
it's heavily implied. But it's just it's
Yeah.
kind of cool to think. I love how he does that. He doesn't take us up in that room.
Sure,
He lets us
sure.
imagine what could that be? What would the light be flashing? Why would he be so paranoid? Why would he know stuff that he shouldn't know? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way he lets us to do stuff ourselves. It's
Right.
or other people that we talk to who've read it go, hey, have you ever thought about this being, is Tom Bombadil God? I don't know.
Yeah. So, anyways, we get more news. Rohan's not coming.
Yeah.
There's
Ingold.
Yeah.
Ingold comes back.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Who admitted them, right? From the wall.
Yep. And but yeah, Rohan's not going to be there. They do come across this new type of broad, grim, bearded like dwarves wielding great axes type of enemy.
Oh yeah.
Like savage, out of some savage land in the wide east. They come, we deem. So that's scary. They're starting to reports are coming in that this host is made up of more than just the orcs of Mordor, those beholden to the eye. But the gate was shut. All night, watchmen on the wall heard the rumors of the enemy that roamed outside, burning field and tree and hewing any man they found abroad, living or dead. Wow. So, just sort of they start to dig up their trenches, and there's fire made in these trenches, right? They can kind of see the labor that's going on out there, and the fields just start to fill up with the enemy, right?
And this was another sort of instance where the soldiers of Gondor look down and they don't think much of that. It's like fire. I mean, we've got these big thick walls. I mean,
Yeah, right.
trenches of fire.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and that's the part we can talk about a little bit. Is just that they're setting up. The word missile is used in here actually somewhere. That these things are going to shoot.
Catapult things.
Yeah. And we know at first they use them to kind of cause a lot of fire, and it's sort of like, oh yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna put out all these fires, and that then is occupying the men, and they're not manning the wall like they should, perhaps. And then the fear of the heads of their fallen, brothers.
Yeah. Well, they showed that in the movie. I mean, literally trebucheting the heads.
Yeah.
Again, fear.
Yep.
To instill fear. And they had maimed them and then branded them,
marked them with the eye,
the lidless
right?
eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of that is pretty straightforward. Another piece that's interesting is you kind of have two things, right? You've got all that happening, and then you've got Faramir and Denethor kind of falling apart. You've got Denethor taking him up into the chamber, making this bed.
Faramir's got the fever that's keeping him unconscious.
Denethor says there's poison in him.
Yeah.
The poison that's in him.
Yeah.
He knows, actually, which is crazy. So, yeah. Anyway, so you got all that kind of going on there, and we see him kind of descending into madness. Let's see where we want to go next.
And Pippin being the one who's trying to talk him out of that madness.
Right.
He's saying there might be hope. We could try to find Gandalf.
Yeah, comfort me not with wizards.
Yeah.
The fool's hope has failed. The enemy has found it, and now his powers wax. So he that's where you said, and it's implied that he goes up there and is either deceived, perhaps.
Yeah, he says he sees our very thoughts.
Yep. So, and it's even said in Gateway that he sees a force that's just beyond what he thought, actually, and so he despairs and loses hope completely. He sees his line ending and things. So, men were coming in and out of the door, coming to the Lord of the city, and he says, "Nay, I will not come down. I must stay beside my son. He might still speak before the end." Man. So he does love him. He's hoping that he can speak, and then he can. But he
Gandalf
knows
said,
he's alive too, which is crazy.
Gandalf said before he left, right? He said he might remember it before the end. He does love you,
and that's the thing. He is maybe waiting to have a moment where he can speak with him before all of this ends, and he can either ask for his forgiveness or he can speak with him and tell him that he loves him. I think that's really what he's desperately holding on to and waiting for.
And isn't it funny? Because doesn't he earlier chastise somebody? Yeah, I was talking about Gandalf. How, putting the individuals over and others over Gondor. And here he is on the flip side of that, having come out of this. Well, I mean, he's falling into despair, but he's almost kind of more himself than we've seen him at all, right? Because he's so desperate to tell his son that he loves him one more time that he's putting his son over, and the entire state of the kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Yeah. Okay, so Gandalf is put in charge of things. The Prince of Dol Amroth is also in his shining mail was riding forth, kind of inspiring people to, and this is cool. It's something we had kind of said earlier that he looked like this lord, from the race of Numenor, kind of running true in him. And what were there rumors? Men that saw them whispered, saying, "Belike the old tales." The old tales speak well. There is elvish blood in the veins of that folk, right? So they're just talking about how the city's kind of staying inspired, and how Gandalf is having the fires checked, and just sort of who's in control. But later on, we find out that not everyone's listening. Mm-hmm. Not everyone is giving in to or following what Gandalf. They're all running up to check with Denethor, right? What's going on? And
it also says here. When they had gone, the shadows closed in on men again. It's like as soon as their presence was gone, their inspiration, their hope was lost.
Yeah. So now during this time, this is when the hidden captain, as he's called, comes forward, hidden no more, and the siege towers are put up, and a lot of bad things start to kind of happen there. Slowly the great siege towers built in Osgiliath rolled forward through the dark. So then these messengers are coming up, trying to get a hold of Denethor, and just nothing. So this is where we learn about his intention to burn, and to create the pyre, and to burn his son. And he releases Pippin from his service.
Why do the fools fly? Better to burn sooner than later, for burn we must. Go back to your bonfire.
Yeah,
great. I love how he shows how hectic it is in just one line, too. That next line after Denethor's talking, the messengers without bow or answer turned and fled.
Yeah.
So it's just like they're not even bothering with, formalities anymore. It's just, it's chaos, dude.
Well, there's the one scene in the movie where Denethor is up on the lip.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly what he said, but then he's going nuts, and Gandalf just whacks him with the stick.
And the staff right in the head. That's right.
Yeah,
flee for your lives.
Right.
What's he saying? What does Gandalf say? Stay to your post or something like that. Yeah. Stand your ground.
Right. So we're pretty much at the end here. I mean, this is sort of the idea is that Pippin kind of wants to. He said that.
Sorry.
What's up?
I've seen a bunch of kids out there on their skateboards and stuff, and now someone's going.
Oh, darn kids out there skateboarding! Neighbor's house, and
she's not home. So.
Oh, are they robbing that house? Do they not know we're on neighborhood watch right now?
We're the bounders.
Wow.
We are straight up. We have two rangers right here. They will come out,
and a wizard,
and a wizard. You better watch out. Darn kids. But to kind of wrap this up, Pippin. This is where we said he as he's leaving, and as he's not abandoning his post. He's fulfilling his duty.
Yeah.
And
try to talk sense into the steward.
Right. So Pippin left him and called for the servants, and they came, 6 men of the household, strong and fair. Yet they trembled at the summons. But in a quiet voice, Denethor bade them lay warm coverlets on Faramir's bed and take it up. So they already know something bad is about to happen. Let's see. So this is where he's kind of... a porter sat in the little house beside the way, and with fear in his eyes he came forth bearing a lantern in his hand. At the Lord's command he unlocked the door, and silently it swung back. They passed through, taking the lantern from his hand. It was dark on the climbing road between ancient walls, and many pillars were there. So they're just describing sort of the house of the stewards that they go up into, right? This is the place in which they're taking Faramir. And Pippin's already been sent away, but he's following along. And he says, Okay. Here we will wait, he said, but send not for the embalmers. Bring us wood quick to burn. Okay, so now his intentions are made very clear.
Right? Yep.
Yeah.
Build me a pyre.
Right. And he actually asked for leave here real quickly, just to go find Gandalf.
I like that in the audio book because it was just like, it's like, my leave, Lord, and then he
Yeah. Yes.
he doesn't
Taking my
wait
break.
for a reply.
My 15-minute break.
Yeah.
But I'm on my break.
Yeah,
So-
they're going back to the silent street and all the tombs and the
Yeah.
catacombs and all that stuff. And
And really, to make this all a little bit shorter, Pippin runs to get Gandalf.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it. He runs to get him, and
Is it kind of interesting too if like Pippin wouldn't have told Baragon? Baragon just assumed that that Denethor wouldn't do this unless he was dead.
yep.
That he is dead, right? And
Yeah,
then
he assumes he's dead. He
right?
assumes that
And
he's
everyone
dead.
probably would because he probably looks dead. And if they're running around taking his orders, then they're not going to be checking his pulse,
Right.
Right? And it's Pippin who's like, "Nah, he's still alive. Take
says
as
no.
much time as possible. Delay. Don't be too quick to fulfill
Yeah,
his
his
request."
death
and-
might be prevented. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Lord of the City, Baragon, has fallen before his city is taken. He is fey and dangerous.
Good line.
Right? He is fey and dangerous.
Yeah.
So
Tina.
I must find Gandalf at once. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much it there. So now this is the cool wrap up to this is.
Oh my gosh, dude! Talk
He's
about
got to go.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, where are you going to find Gandalf? Right,
Right.
Where are you going to find him? You're going to find him in the heart of the fighting and the battle. This is where they talk about the what do you call those things? And Dave, you'll know this. They're trying to the ramrod or what is that? They're trying to take down the door. They've got the gate. What are those things called? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the wolf-like thing,
Yeah.
and it's on fire almost in the
Grond, and what's it called though? It's a
I can't-
battering ram.
battering
ram.
thing.
There it is.
Yeah, so that's going on, and they've got the mountain trolls. They describe them kind of up behind it, and it's just
So heavy they have to push it.
right.
Right.
And so Pippin gets there in time to maybe almost run up to Gandalf, but no, he's got to hold back a little bit. It's so interesting how different it is. The sequence of events here, right?
Yeah.
At the end,
This happens at night in the movies. Is this night here?
Yeah,
I think it's just
Is it?
to me it's more just that like, but in the movies he actually is able to persuade Gandalf to come back and help out, and then he returns to the fight, and then you have the horns
the conflict with
at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
that's
conflict and
true.
then the horns that will kind of
And then just one really small thing here, but you know how we always talk about numbers.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
this is as they're ramming the door. Thrice he cried.
Yep.
Thrice the great ram boomed.
And there was a cock, right?
Yeah.
That crowed.
Well, you never know.
You know?
And suddenly, upon the last stroke, the gate of Gondor broke.
Yep.
um,
The other thing too, I thought was interesting that you don't get from the movie is that there was like some kind of spell put on the head of this ram, right?
really? Yeah, we're gonna read that. Is there? Yeah, that's cool.
Maybe I dreamt that.
Well, there's something to it though, right? It's
no, so long had it been forged in the dark smithies of Mordor, and its hideous head, founded of black steel, was shaped in the likeness of a ravening wolf. On it spells of ruin lay. So there was some magic to it as well that you don't think about.
Let's go.
And you go back to the whole door thing, right? With
Yeah.
remember when Gandalf was back in Moria, putting
Oh, yeah.
word, speaking
yeah.
the word of command, and there were spells there between
It could
he and the
stop.
Belrog.
Yep.
And now you've got this instrument of destruction that had spells put on it by
That's funny you say that because I
The Witch
thought
King or the Dark
when this
Lord, or-
happened, would there be a word of
Yeah,
command to
yeah,
stop?
yeah.
So I actually thought that, even though I knew that it wasn't
And
going to
what-
happen.
yeah.
I still was like, wow, that'd been kind of a cool spot.
Did he do it and Tolkien didn't write about it?
Yeah,
You know? I
because
mean,
he
was
had been here. This fight's been going on.
Yeah.
So the drums rolled and rattled with a vast rush. Grod was hurled forward by huge hands. It reached the gate. It swung. A deep boom rumbled through the city like thunder running in the clouds. But the doors of iron and posts of steel withstood the stroke. Then the black captain rose in his stirrups and cried aloud in a dreadful voice, speaking in some forgotten tongue words of power and terror.
Words of command.
There it is, right?
Right.
To rend both heart and stone. Almost like maybe he was, those spells that were there, he was kind of bringing them forward. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. That he was sort of the force behind that.
It actually made me think of Jadis and that gate or that door in Charn.
Yeah,
how she spoke those words in that ancient tongue they couldn't understand, and how it,
Right. My question out
Black
there
Rider?
is that like Will, Mike, Lucas, and Dustin out there?
Stranger
Like,
Things.
are they
I thought
looking
the same thing.
for L? Is L out there? Like, what's up?
You see him too, right? Did you see him too?
I saw him on the corner of my eye. I saw something.
I almost thought I was seeing something at first because it's,
I
it's late, so that's
Really late.
highly possible.
So, anyways, let's kind of read through some of this here at the very end. So,
this entire last page here is definitely readable.
Yeah, really cool. So, in rode the Lord of the Nazgul, a great black shape against the fires beyond. He loomed up, grown to a vast menace of despair. Yeah. In rode the Lord of the Nazgul, under the archway that no enemy ever yet had passed, and all fled before his face. All save one.
Yeah, baby.
Let
That should be a tattoo for you.
all save one. Man. There waiting silent and still in the space before the gate sat Gandalf upon Shadowfax. What's cool is Shadowfax.
Yeah.
He's not backing down either.
Nope.
So all
So-
save two, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Let's be honest about it. Yeah.
Come on,
Horse
Tolkien.
lives matter.
That's right.
Oh, man. So, and Gandalf tells him, you cannot enter here. And this is where the battle, this is the testing.
Good Lord, man.
Right?
Yep.
And the huge shadow halted. He halts.
Yep.
No one else is caused him to,
Yeah.
right? To stop and to, he stops.
Yeah, what
because
else is
it's
going
Gandalf.
on there? Is there
Right.
some magic?
If any other normal man would have just
force
said that,
Yeah.
he's not going to stop for one
Not
moment.
gonna-
He's not going to
definitely not gonna
hesitate.
halt. Right.
Not going to know. Oh. It says, go back to the abyss prepared for you. Go back, fall into the nothingness that awaits you and your master. Go. And this is what's kind of crazy.
Three
right?
go backs and goes. Too.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, sure. The Black Rider flung back his hood, and behold, he had a kingly crown, yet upon no head visible was it set. The red fires shone between it, and the mantled shoulders vast and dark. So what are we seeing here? From a mouth unseen, there came a deadly laughter. Are we seeing any head?
No,
Is
I
this
don't
like
think so.
just a crown? Is it
Floating crown.
Yeah.
Floating crown? Is that what you guys are seeing?
Fire and floating crown. Yep.
Yeah, I
Is
think
the fire just like you can see the fires on the other side through, like there's fire on the other side of the gate, and he's an invisible head, so you can see the fires through. That's almost how I thought. I'm like, he's illustrating that there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
can see the fires in the background because there's just this crown floating here.
That's crazy. Yeah. So anyways, he calls him old fool. Old fool. This is my hour. Do you not know death when you see it? Die now. Wow. And curse in vain. Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah. Die now and curse in vain.
Yeah, and he actually lifted high his sword, and flames ran down the blade. Gandalf did not move.
That should be the tattoo on the other side.
That's on the other side.
One arm
Man.
says all save one. The next arm says
Yeah.
Gandalf did not move.
Yeah.
And you could just cross your arms
Yeah.
and be like, bro, right there.
Oh,
That's
man.
my guy.
And so he's ready to go. But in that very moment, away beyond, in some courtyard of the city, a cock crowed,
There's the cock.
shrill and clear. And this is sort of the morning. It's indicating that morning has come, that dawn is here.
Yep.
And as if an answer, there came from far away another note: horns, horns, horns. 3 again.
Yep.
And this is they know that Rohan had come at last.
Yeah.
Man.
It's been a while since we've had like a cliffhanger like that at the end of a chapter.
Yeah.
From what I remember, they all lead into something else, obviously, but that is like, what in the world?
Right.
Like, what is it? How is this?
I mean, yeah, you're literally leaving a face off.
Yeah. Yeah. That you've been building to this whole. Yeah. Man. Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you guys think that the portrayal of the Witch King in the films, or how we are described here in the book, is more frightening, disturbing, scary? intimidating?
I think it's just his description. You know, it's something you can do in a book that you can't do in a film is that you told us that men. I mean, you could have done that. You could have said that men are like, that's a line that maybe, I don't know. I haven't seen it extended in a long time. But maybe they do say that. Do they ever say that men were fleeing before? Do they refer to him as a great captain or?
Well, I just meant
like
the way he physically looks.
Oh, I even just, but part of that I think is the description, like the way you're able to use words versus visually what you could show too. I mean, and I think it's sort of like just the way he's characterized. I think is more important than the way he looks. I think it makes him scarier. Because of the way others are reacting, and the fact the line that they said that men would slay themselves if he bid them.
Want them to.
Yeah, I'm like what?
That's
pretty. That is like some heavy
stuff.
Heavy stuff. I mean, that is like wow.
And I'll just say one quick thing, just based upon like description and so forth. So in the book here, when he takes back his hood,
that's what
I think that like the way it was done, because he had like the iron
the
mask
crown
thing,
mask
and the
thing on
crown.
top. Yeah,
I you're watching this movie and you know BA captain's coming around and then he just flicks off his hood and it's just a floating crown.
Yeah, it might look a little more silly.
Yeah, that would have been kind of comical.
Yeah. I mean, it now in real life, if you were to see that in front of you, it probably wouldn't be very comical, especially if he had a flaming sword there. But in a cinematic, I think that's the way they actually showed him in the film was probably the best way they could do it.
Yeah. And see, I kind of like, so maybe I wouldn't say that this description would work in the film, but I like this description better.
Yeah.
Because it is, until the point of him whipping that hood off, he just looks like another Black Rider. Right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like his identity's kind of hidden that way. He's not wearing a big crown mask on top that says, hey, here I am, I'm the Witch King. Come, here I am, Gandalf. It's almost like he rides up and it's like you said, the description of his presence, right, is more scary. Then he whips this thing off, and it's like, holy crap, he's got a crown that's floating.
Yeah.
What? That would make me run away because I'd be like, what is this thing?
I feel like there could be more description too, because I mean, how does he compare to the other riders?
What's the crown look like?
Like, how do they know that he's the Black Captain?
Yeah.
That he's, is it just because I don't know?
He doesn't need to fly. He's riding around. He's down in the armies.
And I think that's just a technique that Tolkien used. That I don't really need to do that because everyone else will tell us that he's the Black Captain. Yeah. And so that's pretty awesome,
man.
So,
and even how he comes further and further into focus. Like at first, you're seeing these armies just controlled by some dark malice, right? You don't even know if it's a person or not.
Yeah.
And then as closer and closer he comes into view until he whips that hood right off, and there he is.
Yeah. Oh, all right, friends. Well, so here's the deal. We've gone for quite some time, and we do appreciate you staying here with us. Now I'm going to put these two gentlemen on the spot, and one of them is going to come up with a great strawberries with cream on the spot.
This man's been doing it all night.
Right now, on the spot, as I continue to talk here and eat up time. But no, we're gonna bypass. Yeah, well,
we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait and see how long as can stall.
Oh, I got it. Don't you worry. So we're going to bypass the Bywater post this week. We'll come back to that. We've heard Dave's story before, and we've actually had it in a couple of different places. But we can even get some of that here at the end too if we want.
Absolutely,
be kind of cool. And so right, getting close to running out of stuff.
With cream.
Let's talk about me some more.
Okay.
Me.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
No,
strawberries with cream.
Yeah.
I got it, guys.
Pancakes or waffles? Sorry. Go ahead.
Waffles.
If you had to have flames run down the side of your sword.
Right. What color would they be?
Yes.
Is that what you're going with?
Yes. What color would your flames be?
Blue. Blue flames just seem like they're like hotter.
That's the hottest.
It's the hottest
flame.
of all the flames.
Oh, is it really? Okay. So
you're a hot flamer. What color would your flames be?
David Vogel.
If I would have had water in my mouth, he would have sprayed both spit
And ruined the equipment.
Oh wow. Good thing we.
Why did the water? It's full bottle right there. You still make it happen.
Good thing.
No, I mean, like, I the blue's great, but like, in all honesty, like, just like the brightest of like orange red, just like that
Traditional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue doesn't necessarily always permeate, but that bright red orange flicker.
You know, actually, something that's scarier sometimes. So yeah, maybe blue isn't as like green flames actually tend to represent real evil, and you know, especially in Disney movies. I mean, it may not scare the likes of
I don't know if
of
that would
Dave
be
here,
Maleficent.
scary.
but yeah, like
Or-
they tended to represent that, right?
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
I'd have to, after a lot of
Pink?
deliberation in my
No.
head,
Really?
I'm down with clear
Clear flames.
flames.
Unreal.
Because if you think about it, the scariest flames are the ones you can't see.
Like a shadow type of thing. You can see the air moving around it or something.
I just think
Gosh. It's like a vapor.
you don't know the
Jiminy
flames are there
Christmas.
until I hit you with that sword.
Wow. Yeah,
So
wow, that sword's on
visually not
fire.
very scary, but man, when it hits, the shock value alone,
Sneak attack.
fire ain't gonna even have to do its job.
Hey,
bro.
it's a sneak attack. There's a real sword that you can see coming, but there are invisible flames.
I have
on
invisible
it.
fires. Wow, flyers.
So
He's
I have
got
invisible
all
fires out in my fire pit all the time, and they're the best ones I've
Hey,
ever had. 'Cause I
let's-
imagine them.
yeah, let's do this. I want to do an additional poll.
Okay.
This week.
Is this
So-
on Facebook or just unofficial?
This is maybe unofficial on Facebook, but I'm going to give you guys 2 times. Okay, because we typically
Oh,
do
okay.
two options. I would
It'll be
like
the later
for
one.
you to pick. What time do you think it is right now as we were recording? So I'll have my good friend David give us a time, and then I'll have Lane give us a time, and you guys decide which time you think it is.
Should they be close or far away?
I don't know. That's up to you
Far
guys.
away?
That's up to you guys. What time is it? Now, one of you has to pick the right time. So,
Is that me? Because you showed me the clock.
yeah.
Oh, I can't say
You
that.
can't say that. Now we're all mixed up. How's that going to work? How's that going to work? All right, you guys
All right,
decide.
so
You
I'll
guys
go
decide.
ahead and say it's 2 a.m.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna say it's 3:20 a.m. Smack dab in the middle of witching hour.
Jiminy Christmas.
I will say this: this is not the latest we've ever gone.
No.
It's pretty late, but it's not.
I
It's
just like
just
this-
like this is Av.
I'm testing people. I'm testing people to see if they've really been
Yeah.
paying attention
Yeah.
as to how we're doing pretty well here at the
Oh,
end.
I think that was this.
We've
was a
done much
fantastic
worse.
episode.
We've done much worse. No, it's actually been
For
a
the
lot of fun.
siege that was beleaguered upon us, and having David here, and
Yeah, and
You know?
thank you, by the way. He's been putting up with some of the craziness of the studio and the
yeah, for us.
No, it was a
Running
lot
around
of fun.
before and-
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys having me out.
Of course, man.
You know, this is one of the podcasts that I listen to regularly. Yeah, I try and set these in the old ear holes at work when I can, but I've been trying to get more books in lately. But yeah, I enjoy listening to book club. I enjoy all the interaction with the folks who get on the Facebook pages. You might see my random like every now and again.
Yeah.
Won't comment, won't say anything to you, but I might like it.
You'll be at the.
he's on the borders.
You'll be at the long expected party too.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Year 2,
yeah.
you'll be there. You were there at year 1. You'll be
Yep.
there at year 2.
Yep, have to make some. Are we doing potato competition again?
Oh, the golden potato's up for grabs, man.
Don't tell anybody
So,
where it's at. By
It's
the way,
up for grabs. Yeah,
it's
actually
hidden away
the
in this house.
That's very Bilbo, isn't it? Just
somewhere in
hidden
this
somewhere.
house.
It
There's
is.
a golden potato.
And this year we're gonna have to pick a winner. We can't do the
Oh,
whole.
we're picking
we
a
couldn't
winner,
pick
and they're
last
taking
year.
the
It was
potato
too
with them.
hard.
And I
Bringing
don't
it
care if
back.
they don't come the next year. I want it either
Sent back.
or they send a dish to reclaim to defend their title. Whatever.
They've got to do that.
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that have confirmed coming.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared to look at the number just because the preparation. I'm like, we were talking about
Well,
today.
you
We're
know,
2 months out.
I remember last year when I attempted to get hold of Lane and said, "Hey, man, you guys need any help with this?" And I never got back.
I
to
am the
me.
worst at. I'll tell you right now. I'm the,
The
worst
two of
delegator.
you are the worst.
Well, I'm
Tell him right now that yes, we need his help.
I'm just a bad delegator because I always feel like if I hate. I've gotten better, but I feel like I'm bossing people around. If I'm like, even if I do it in the most polite way too. I go, "Hey, would you mind helping with this?" But I'm just like, no, I'll do it myself. I'm the one who
thought this stupid idea up. I'm just going to do it myself. I don't want you. You need to sit back
I know,
and relax.
I know. Yeah,
But I was really impressed with the party last year. I think
it's fun, wasn't it?
It was way more than I would have ever expected.
Well,
That's
even though
good.
it was like raining and we still had a really good
despite all that.
time.
Remember we
and
did trivia in here, and we
first of all, the best thing that I
Bill
think,
Joe.
that's
coming
right,
through
Bill
with
Joe
trivia.
Baggins. He will be back.
thank you to Dave for saving my equipment outside. By the way, in the rain.
That's right.
Did you leave it out in the rain?
Yeah, he's like, hey, moved your stuff inside.
Your
It's
one
poor-
fear. Holy cow!
It's like I had my huge amp out there. I had my camera.
Oh, with the music.
I mean, I
That's
probably
right.
had about $4,000 worth of stuff sitting out there in the rain.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
No, that was
but,
good. Got to meet a lot of interesting people there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was it Kurt and Kelly? They
Yeah,
were
that's
out.
right. That's right.
Had Erica there.
Yeah, Erica, and
Susie Millhouse,
Susie,
Yeah, Nick came up.
Ethan, and
Jen.
Xavier.
Yep.
Shepard was
Yeah.
there for a while.
Yeah.
Nick coming from Georgia,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that
God,
was
yeah,
so
that's
much.
walking
That
out
was
of the mist.
that was
Over
so
in
cool.
Field of Dreams or something.
We had a couple special guests show up. We had Swish and Flick there too, which
Yep.
was fun.
Yep.
So yeah, we had some good times, and I believe we're gonna have a few more.
Oh, there's a few that I'm actually excited to meet.
Yeah, new faces.
That'd be crazy.
I'm excited too, and we've got some more fun special guests,
Yeah.
fun things planned.
Yep, it's gonna be fun.
I think Bill Joe. I think we're gonna need. This is where we're gonna need your help the most, Dave, as we got a couple fun surprises planned, and we may need to get out of town in a pick or
Some
in
whiz
a quick
poppers
little
might,
something
be set off.
might go
I
down.
get what you're throwing down.
Yeah.
I tell you,
I do have one request.
We being
though.
subtle enough.
No, you've already said it.
okay.
I do request that Sarah make those little tea sandwiches again.
Yes. And actually, my
Those are
mom
really
too. My
good.
mom was. Yeah, I was like, we're gonna have tea. We're gonna have afternoon tea again.
That was nice.
We're gonna have the potato
I
cook-off,
felt civilized.
and then we're
Yeah.
gonna you feel a little feel hobbity, and then we're gonna have some smorgasbord stuff for dinner. I think the Shire rats are gonna help cook, but also I want to I've been messing around with cooking, right?
Yeah. Oh, you've
and I
been doing
want
a
to throw
great
down
job.
some dishes, get some meat out there. I'll get some vegan stuff for Kurt and Kelly.
you
I'll
might.
take care of them. Oh, mate, I'm just doing my thing in the kitchen. All right, I'm Laney Oliver. All right. Of the naked chef, I'm the fully clothed chef. All right,
Right. Be on lookout for those vlogs coming. By the way, those will be on Patreon. Actually, we were talking about the potato dish. The one that I remember the taste of, and I didn't know who made
Is
it,
David's.
was the vinegar one.
Yeah,
I told him
German
before you
potato
got
salad.
here. I was like,
salad.
I'm gonna ask, but I can't remember who did that, but it might have been. And it was so good.
Yeah, German potato salad.
So
No, actually, all of them were great. I mean, I remember Erica's pie,
Yep.
and that was
yeah.
Purple, wasn't it? Or
yeah.
something?
The color
That's
was
right.
was
That's
really
right.
good.
That threw me.
And then Susie's cookies. You
Cookies.
guys, you
And-
guys talk about those to this
and
day.
Kurt
Yeah,
did the
they're good.
one
They're
with
good.
bacon and something else mixed into it too. He did a potato dish as well. That was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to at least talk about. Can you tell people what Contingency Plan is all about?
Yeah.
Your Star Wars podcast.
Yeah.
I love it. I enjoy it. I want other people to know about it too. So take us in.
So that officially hit a year, like literally this week, and
Congratulations.
by that it means that I had to pay another $108 to reserve the Podbean for it. So that's how I knew.
Yeah.
So me and my brother had lost touch for a little while, and we were sort of looking for a way to reconnect a bit and spend some time together. So when I was young, 1999 rolls around and the Phantom Menace pops up.
Yeah.
Along with the Phantom Menace also was a book series called The New Jedi Order.
Yep.
And the New Jedi Order was full of all the kookiness and all the crazy stuff and all the cool lore that the EU had to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 19 books in total, and I collected them all and read
you're
them.
You're a book collector as well too.
Nothing super crazy, but I do have a large bookshelf. Anyway,
but you go.
but so as I was reading them, my brother, who's 7 years younger than I am, we hung out a lot when we were kids. I did a lot of stuff with him. We always tried to have fun with each other. We didn't fight all that much, but he would take the books and sort of read them on his own.
Yeah.
And so he's read most of the series, and basically what we said is I'd like to do a Star Wars podcast because a certain guy with the name that starts with an E and sort of a Z wasn't inviting me around enough. But
Some
no,
fella.
I'm just kidding.
Easy.
But yeah, so wanted to start a Star Wars podcast, but I said, I don't really want to do like a talk show type of thing. I kind of want to do something more with books. So because there was a ton of source material, we said, let's just roll into New Jedi Order and start tackling it. Now there's been some changes in format and everything. Now we're going to split the books up into 4 parts and then a recap. So each book will have about 5 episodes with it. And then I periodically do some power half hours, as I call them, which is just a little bit of
I love those.
news. And then I've been going over some of the Age of Resistance comics for those as well.
The real question is, have you put in a bid for the Star Wars spork yet?
Oh, my God. No.
But it's got the
most
knife side,
ridiculous.
man. There's the knife side.
the
Yeah, you
most-
talked about that, and I went and looked it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, people are really selling this stuff.
Well, I didn't hear about this
Galaxy's
one.
Edge,
a
man.
lot of money.
Me and Ez might have to
I
take
can't
a
believe
a
you guys
trip.
weren't there at the opener.
Dude, I wanted to be,
I
but
can't believe it.
I actually am not big into parks, and I was.
I'm not either, but
Don't you get to fly the Falcon? You
Yeah,
sit in the
well,
cockpit, right, for 25 seconds.
6 people.
Yeah.
You go in and you can have different stations and so forth, and pilot the
I
Falcon.
mean, that's probably
So
as
are you-
close.
Who gets to pilot when we go in there?
whoever wants to. There's a pilot, a co-pilot. There's like engineering, and then there's weapons. So
I'm gonna tell you right now. If
I would just want to say that's no
pilot.
moon.
that's you. That's you.
you're the engineer.
That's
that,
no
I
moon.
think
that's
you're.
no moon.
Yeah, you're the engineer. Yeah, that's right.
So, but anyway, we read books. We've started to get into some new canon stuff. We did the Dooku Jedi Lost audio drama. Eventually, we'll do Master and Apprentice and a few other things. So, basically, it's just a Star Wars podcast. We talk about news, talk about life, talk about books, and just have a pretty good time with it.
Yeah, something that's that I like. You guys just redid your logo. Looks sick.
Yeah, the
I
original.
love it.
Yeah, the original logo was just something that was slapped together because we
Yeah.
wanted a logo and it was like,
Placeholder. Yeah.
okay, that's cool, but I started thinking it's like this is just a lot of dark side here, so we just we just had to do a redesign. And,
Well, dude, I'm not gonna even. I'm not. Okay, so in all of my reading, and especially all of my reading in the extended universe, the number of times, and I would be out mowing my yard, and I would hear contingency. The number of times that I've heard contingency plan mentioned, and I'm talking in the EU,
yep.
is unreal. And I was like, what? It's a theme around all of the Empire and around the, Palpatine. It's amazing. I actually thought it was more just like a mod kind of thing. No, it's been there since the beginning. It's been a big deal.
And
Going into Rise of Skywalker, it matters, and it's a big deal.
And it's been
Is that what we're going to see? Are we going to see his contingency plan?
maybe,
carried
but
out?
it's been canonized because I don't want to get too much into it to mop up time here.
No,
but
you're
I
fine.
mean,
You're fine.
You got all the time in the world.
in-
Man. We
actually
can
have
go
plenty
for
of
5
time.
hours.
Yeah.
Well, in one of the new books, Alphabet Squadron, they make mention of the Palpatine Sentinel. So he had these Sentinels with his face sort of on it
likeness.
that would
Wow.
help execute his contingency plan after his death.
You just get me so fired up.
So, but that's now been put into canon in this book.
Yeah.
So, I always had a background theory that the whole thing with Snoke and the whole thing with Kylo in the First Order was just the part of his plan. Because it was actually canonized before that in Aftermath.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the very end of Aftermath, and so I had always had this lingering thought that somehow we're gonna have something more with Palpatine.
Yeah.
Eventually, because he had already set all this in motion
Right.
through his Sentinels.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to go over, and there's a lot for Episode 9 that I hope that they explain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've talked about that a lot offline here and there, but anyway, that's that particular podcast, and then I do a little YouTube channel where I eat military rations on camera because that was an offshoot of the backpacking, trying to find carryable food.
And your trademark wave, by the way.
Oh my!
I wish we could do it to the mics.
Yeah,
That is
I mean,
actually
that's a trademark, bro.
No, that actually is super. I don't know how you like. That's really great.
I never would have thought of that. Just right on the front.
Yeah.
Right in front. And you're going to be calling the knights and ladies, lords and ladies, to the summons of the square table where we talk all things nerdy. King David himself, Sir Lancelot is here ready. Sir Ezra is ready to go.
Yeah.
There are others who will answer the call.
Yeah, we'll work on that a little bit more. But yeah, there's a
excited.
potential for another podcast and having the guys here on and some other folks.
Sarah's been approached as well. Goldberry has been approached.
I asked Sarah. Well, Sarah has done a really good job in further up looking for Lewis.
Yeah.
We can't get enough of her.
Yeah, well, she has a good voice. She knows the material, so it proves that she actually gets in there and reads and studies it.
Yep.
And she makes really good points. So yeah, I'd like to see her engage more in that and kind of we're all getting out of our comfort zone because I remember back when
Can I say something about you?
Go for it, man.
That you don't like your own voice.
I never have. I like to sing in the car. I like to sing at home. I play guitar. I've played guitar since I was 13. We played other musical instruments that are pretty dorky, I guess. Before that, but no, I've never been a big fan of my own voice, so I don't like sitting there and listening to it.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Well,
I can't change it.
We do. So it's
I was gonna say, I think that makes me really sad that you can't enjoy. I wish you could hear your voice through my ears. I really wish you could.
Yeah, that's well said.
I feel like that's fairly common though. I think a lot of people kind of
a lot
like.
of people,
I love my own voice.
They can't. Well,
Am I egotistical? I'm joking.
But yeah, other projects potentially could crop up in the future. Just all depends on a few things, and then I'm sure the guys here will probably talk about it later.
Oh, we're going to
Because just as long as there's no crop dusting involved. You said crop there, and I got a little.
I want to excite
scared, a little scared.
I want to excite some. We got people in our own.
You got to
book
go
club.
to sleep sometime.
Oh boy, here we go. Did somebody crop dust?
What?
What? Okay.
He did feed us quite a few beans.
Oh,
and
the
steak
beans
earlier.
are out.
I'm holding it all in right now. So
I've been letting them go, but they've been silent.
I thought that was the chair. Okay.
Barking spiders, as my
Wow.
grandfather would have
Yeah,
said.
don't step on the squirrel. That's
We
right.
have book club members though that would be great for this too.
Yes, we do. Yes,
we have all sorts of men and women who are really really into reading. I was just thinking as we were talking about this, Erica. You talk about somebody who could rival you for a book collection,
dude.
and who is a reader, Erica Barnes.
She talked about how many books she read in a month or a year
intimidating.
once, and
Yeah,
I was
I
like, that's
remember
more
that.
than I've ever. I will never read
She's
in my
great.
life that
She's
many
good.
books.
I think she's good.
She's good.
Bibliocat for real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bibliophile.
Biblio.
That's what she is.
Biblio. Yeah.
Bible.
Well,
The book.
again, like talking about the community. There's some Phil.
Oh,
Phil and
yeah.
the History of Middle Earth
Earth
podcast.
podcast,
What's
yes,
officially
yeah.
called
Minas Tirith Archives.
Yep.
Ministry of Yeah.
Yes.
That's been really great to see him start that because he's so detail oriented. Although I do have to say, Phil, at one point I would just like you to say, do your intro and then just say it's time to fill you in.
I think he's waiting for us.
Yeah.
I think he's waiting for us to jump
You're
on
right
there and say,
about that, though.
Phil,
That's-
time to fill us in.
Right.
And that'll be his next.
And it'll
guest.
stick. It'll stick. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, another member I want to shout out Reframed podcast.
Mr. Chase McKinney.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of folks
And
who
he could come to a table and throw down some X-Files, my friend.
yes
Love it.
He could throw down some Doctor Who.
reads a lot.
I would jump in on X-Files. I mean, it's something I grew up with, and I kind of revisited lately, and I like some of the newer stuff. Like I said, Back to the Future I would love to do.
Right. I think this would be a lot of fun. I think it's just
It'd be
something.
a lot of fun.
So if you're interested in that, I mean, let us know in the group, and
we got a lot of fandoms present.
because I think it'd be really fun to kind of have a rotating.
We got Ranal Thor.
I mean,
right?
do I just need to explain the idea now, or can I explain it later?
No, you can. We talk.
Mics are hot. The
Mics are hot.
Well, the whole
Because you have people in this community who will literally reach out, and I think
Yes.
it would be cool to get all these voices and have all this kind of.
Well, the whole idea behind this particular podcast, I had this thought at one point about doing another Star Wars podcast because in a podcast that shall remain nameless at this time.
Thank you.
One of my favorite parts of
Don't watch out for it anymore.
Yeah, of getting into that was we had a book club, and we would read a book, and we'd have this massive discussion among a couple of us, and maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And it was always really fun. So my idea is to cross over a book club with basically Around the Horn. Mm-hmm. So have a moderator and then a panel
Right.
And then effectively you're in sort of a semi-competition to quote win the argument, the panel.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking about like, okay, now you're out type of deal like they do on that show.
Yeah.
But more.
Would you mute me? I would love to be
I would
muted.
love
see
to.
that.
Yes, he could do it in Discord easily.
That's the other thing that I thought about is muting would be kind of funny to try and do.
Yeah.
But again,
You can't hear him anymore because he's being muted. Right.
Yeah.
but add in some sound effects.
Yes, that would be good.
But originally my idea was just strictly Star Wars because there's so many books to do in there. But opening it up to other fandoms might be cool as well. And then do rotating panels and an email list a couple months in advance. Like, hey, sign up
Here's
for
the
this.
book.
And so that's kind of the larger idea, and we'll sort of see if I can get it together. But it's a time thing, and it's a little bit of a money thing. Not huge or anything like that, but. It's something that could be down the pipeline.
I love it.
And now I just gave away my idea, so somebody's going to take it.
No, they are not, because we're going to fire.
There's only one square table that we'll be summoned to.
That's right.
That's it.
I will only go to one square table. That's for sure. Yeah. I'm proud to be a knight of the square table.
I think I have a chair there. Don't the knights have they have a chair at the round table? We
Absolutely. We have chairs there, and no one's sitting in my chair. I may not be there every time, but that's my chair. You're not sitting there.
But you know what, guys? There's something I was thinking about though. Before any other podcasts really started, maybe you guys should start a Lord of the Rings podcast.
I knew he was going to do that. I knew he was going to do that.
But you got to get the name just right.
Geez, dude, was that for real? That picked up on the mics, man.
Is that the name? Crop Dusting Podcast.
We got to get it just right. Crop Dusting Podcast.
Yeah.
Featuring
Stickleback.
Stankoff and his little hobbit friend, Fartfo.
Yeah. So that was my name. That was my name.
That's good Lord. I don't know. What do you think, Dave? You got any ideas?
Name?
Oh. No.
How about the Ramasam Sore podcast?
All right.
That outer wall is just sore from being,
how
driven
about,
through.
Wow. How about
I got one Grand Baby Grand.
Grand Baby Grand? I like that. How about Pelanor Pelane? Pelanu. How many times?
Pelanator.
The All Save One podcast.
Whoa, my dog! I love it.
I got you, bro.
He's leaving me hanging.
Oh,
I got you.
How about, so you've heard of the Black Panther? How about the Black Captain?
The Black Captain. I was going to say that,
Yeah?
but I thought it was kind of lame.
Oh wow, okay.
So, but that's why we're having so much trouble coming up with a name.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm lame.
Wow.
Actually, you know how many times I've ended emails? Typo, lame.
Since you said that,
it's one letter right away. It's just like, thanks, Mom and Dad. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I got one last one for you.
You went to Pleasant Street, didn't you, Dave?
Sure did.
Isn't that crazy?
Must be nice. Must be nice to have gone to the same elementary
Do
school.
you have fond memories of that library?
Well, yeah.
I mean, like
I was
room
also
itself.
a part of the whole Battle of the Books thing.
Nerd. Oh my gosh!
So
dude, yeah.
I read a lot of books out of that library.
Mrs. Chittister, remember her?
I had
Fantastic librarian. Beautiful, big windows.
It was a
bookshelves everywhere.
library,
Desks.
yeah.
Yep. Used to be the junior high.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Must be nice, guys.
I just thought of another name.
What's
You're
that?
not even going to believe it.
Podcast.
I literally just forgot it.
You're not. Is that the podcast?
I just forgot podcast.
I just forgot a podcast, or you're not going to believe
it was
podcast.
in my head.
It was in my head podcast. Wow. This is great. We're coming up with all sorts of names right now.
On the fly.
What else you got? I got nothing podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh,
the
podcast.
Joe Rohan experience.
The Joe Rohan.
That might be copyright.
Joe Rohan.
The Joe Rohan
experience.
Could you imagine?
JRE.
Would he be mad? I don't really care.
I don't know if he would.
Come fight us.
He'd probably just swear at us. And talk about
Listen, you don't want to
something.
fight Joe Rogan.
Why not?
Because he's completely legit and will destroy
Do you remember when he was on that? What was that show he was on before?
Fear Factor.
Fear Factor. He was the host of Fear Factor.
I don't remember.
and he had that like crazy painted on hair. He used to not be bald.
I
Believe it or
wasn't
not.
bald at one point. Yeah.
don't even know who we're talking about, honestly.
Okay.
So,
Well, how can people share the load?
well, here's the thing.
Become a toad.
Friends, you can do a couple things. You can head over and check out Contingency Plan Podcast.
Yes.
For sure. You can go do that.
And,
In order
and
to
lobby,
help out Lane and Ez.
lobby for the square table.
No,
The-
that's
the
what I'm saying.
knights and-
Your homework is actually to go encourage Dave here to get that up and going.
Yes.
Right? So I think that's the
The
homework.
lords
side.
and ladies of the square table.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff. I actually did a time lapse today of some cooking in the kitchen. We're gonna do maybe a time lapse tomorrow of the studio creation.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
we got some fun stuff on
See a couple of
Patreon.
sweaty dudes.
Yeah, a bunch of sweaty
My
dudes out
Lord.
there.
They're taking another water break.
We're up to 15 in 1 hour. Gee,
they haven't even framed a wall
oh
yet.
my gosh. Oh jeez. Anyways. So yeah, you guys check us on Patreon / Up Talking Tolkien, and some cool fun stuff on there. Discord chats. We had a fun one today. We didn't record it though. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
It was on the go. We were in the car. It's been a crazy evening.
Yeah.
So do that. Leave us a review. Join the Facebook group. Get in there and just kind of talk and encourage each other. By the way, another shout out to Chase. Thank you for doing
Shout out
those
Sundays.
shout outs, man. I really
Beautiful.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's
those
it's,
are great.
it's
Yeah.
fantastic, and I think it just brings us all together, and it's huge. I've said this a long time ago, but when the show comes out, I want us to be the group that people turn to, and when they get there, and despite how they feel about the show, I want them to feel welcomed. We have a lot of people who are just dormant right now. They're just not into Lord of the Rings because of whatever they're going through this time.
Yeah.
It will come back, and we will be a place where people will turn to, and it's going to be positive. And we reward positivity with positivity. We've always been a positive group. It doesn't matter. You can come in as sour as you want, and it's hard to help. But like people in our group make
to
you.
help.
I don't know what I'm trying to say here. What time
It's
is
infectious.
it? What time is it? Yeah, there's an infectious, just positivity, smiling, goofy, fun time that we have here, and it's great. So
Go check out the Contingency Plan podcast. Go check out our brother filling us in at the Minas Tirith Archives, the histories of Middle Earth. Find your way home, if you will. 2 episodes out, the Shire, and an episode dedicated to Frodo Baggins. More are coming, and it's awesome. Get involved with his. Oh my gosh, he did a poll for his most recent episode. 500 people.
Yeah.
Unreal. So go jump in his Facebook group as well.
Yep.
You submit any question you want. A lot of stuff that you ask or submit, he's going to work into an appropriate episode. He's going to answer all your questions.
And that's the show.
Don't know what else to say.
Okay.
I'm beside myself.
All right. Hey,
And you. I'm beside ourselves.
Right. You should be. So, all right, guys, we want to thank you for hanging out with us here, right, and running through a pretty solid chapter. What do we got next week?
Got the Ride of the Rohirrim.
Wow, pretty big deal.
We have some more guests coming up too. Some more David Vogels, if you will, who are going to be jumping in future episodes. This is going to be the most collaborative book that we've done yet. We've got the Shire Rats coming on at some point. We have my cousin Luke Smith, who's going to jump in. We have Ben Weirman, who's hanging out for the last debate. I want to try and talk Kevin into coming in one of these chapters.
Yeah, I would too.
I know he's busy, really busy. We all are, but
like Nate would be good too.
Nate would be awesome to get in here.
Nearby.
Anybody. And if you're interested in coming in on a chapter and you're close by, or you want to be Skyped in or something, just let us know. That would be really cool. And also we got old Bill Joe Baggins joining us for the very last chapter.
Right.
And so cool things ahead, fun times.
Yeah.
Line,
it's not coming. All right, friends. Hey, thanks again for listening. If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, leave a comment, or send us a Shadowfax.
we want to thank David Vogel for being here with us, brother. Thank you so much. A Boromir at heart, but truly a Ranger of the North. What do I usually say? We'll see you in a fortnight, and remember, Frodo lives.